and I own Dynamic Focus, and I do Queen of the Hill series, and I'm tired and very unfiltered, so I'm gonna try to stay filtered, not as cantankerous, but I failed in the first 10 minutes of being here, so I'm tired. All right.
And John,
Well, I am Black Chameleon. I don't have a whole lot going on. I did get another job, which is pretty cool.
congratulations on that. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you, thank you.
congrats.
I
Congrats.
mean, it's not the job I want, but it'll do for now. Shout out to Epic if they want to take a look at that app and holla at your boy. But no, just kind of doing the same thing. Here to spread my I don't know, my version of comedy that seems to work pretty well because it makes everybody else laugh or it makes me laugh. So I'm pretty good at it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, you're not. You
What?
oftentimes I'm the butt of your joke, so
Well,
no.
yeah, exactly. I did.
Yeah, because you
So
mad funny.
Oh,
right.
wow. All right, continuing on. So, Josh is back, and we're gonna
Thank you,
talk about
thank
it.
you.
We're gonna talk about the show topics, and then we're gonna get right into it. Let's roll into it because I'm excited to talk about Frosty Fostings, and I reached out to the head TO and a few of his coworkers, and I'd let them know that I really wanted to interview them, and they said they'd be open to it. But I said, yeah, like I'll give it a month and a half or something because we all know how long it takes to kind of get back to a good headspace. And before we even move on, our special guest tonight, who has come out of working an extremely busy job, I'll be nice, uh, Jordan Hardy Birdman. If all right, here's the thing, right? If I'm the Punisher, Harvey Birdman is the dude in the van. You understand what I'm saying? And he was the dude in the van and found around for everybody. When Kaya left, he took on the mantle, and for years, he is the sum total of the person that ran Start.gg and did a lot of the work and also the economics, the floor, helping with the schedule, equipment, tracking, and all that stuff. So, Jordan, if you let the people know who you are.
Well, I think you kind of just told them all, but it's fine. Hey, welcome everybody to
Don't
TN
tell me he's
Talks.
talking and I can't hear him.
I am talking, I guess.
Lord have mercy. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
he
I'm
was
leaving.
talking.
Hold on, I'm leaving and coming back. Fuck that. I'm not doing this the whole show. Hold on.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, David
Well,
always
go ahead.
has
Keep
problems
continue,
with
Jordan.
his mic and his audio, but I'm glad to be on the show here. If he's a little too kind there, I just try to make everything as smooth as possible for everyone. So that's kind of my job. And yeah,
I think you do a great job of playing Microchip. By the way, David, Microchip is the name of that character.
Microchip.
Good. Yep, that's
What's coming?
Microchip.
yeah.
All right, so we've got. Let's see. We talked about everybody already. By the way, hi, I'm Josh. I do organization, and then I complain on in public spaces about people that should know better. So that's who I am. So topics for today. Number one, first and foremost, just a reminder for y'all. We're going to be reminding you frequently. Valentine's Day is next Tuesday. So help me, I better not see a bunch of online tournaments called Valentine's Day Massacres. Y'all are better than that. You can do better. I expect better. But we do not only do we have Valentine's Day coming up.
WWE.
Yep, you see, right? We're going to be talking about Frosty Fausters. We're going to be following up on the event and some of the things that went down there. As mentioned earlier, David was out that way. And what was the temperature, David? 4 degrees? Was that when you were first there? It was single digits. I remember that. Uh, we'll have David talk to us about that
He
experience
might still be
there.
frozen.
Ah, his mic might be frozen. Not a problem. But
No, I'm here.
we'll
I'm
talk
here. I'm
about.
here. I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
okay. Oh,
I'm
you were
here.
fighting the chicken still. That's right. Forgot you
Yeah.
went to go out and take care of those.
Oh God. Anyway,
Peter Griffin over here.
shut up. No, let me tell you. it was so cold. I thought that Chicago was anti-black. Like the shit
Wow.
made no, bro. The shit made no sense. It was no, but you know what? It was also my fault. I'm gonna bring that up later. And also, they're raising Saiyans out there. They had babies with their hands and faces exposed. I remember in Florida when that shit was like 40 or 50 degrees. The only thing you could see of my baby was nothing because we had him completely covered up with a
Man,
blanket.
y'all had soft skin down there in Florida.
Bruh, that shit was so cold, bro. Yo, let me tell you. Let me tell you how
In
cold it was.
Virginia, yo, we be walking out with like 30-degree weather,
No,
and
no,
I
no.
mean,
I'm gonna
we
tell you
covered
how
up a
cold.
little bit.
I'm gonna tell you how cold it was, John. It was so cold outside that somebody left their stick outside. Imagine being so cold that you forgot
Damn.
your stick was right beside you because you had to run inside, and we turned that stick into the hotel. That's how cold it
And
was.
sticks ain't cheap.
That's a
That's
lot.
That's like what,
Mm,
$300?
bruh.
mm.
The man left his stick, or the man or woman left his stick or their stick out fucking side in the cold, bro. Left it shit. We came outside, we looked at it, we like, what the fuck is this? Imagine, because I know sometimes they're like, oh shit, so cold, I ran inside. Imagine being so cold in your mind, you forgot that you put your stick down to pick it up. That's how cold it
And
was
then you,
outside.
and obviously
I
you
was
didn't
glad.
warm up fast enough to remember it either.
Right. And then
Right?
I want you to understand too, right? Then somebody says, someone hits me with the hard truth, because I got a lot of that this weekend. David, it's called Frosty Faustings. The years prior, there was a snowstorm at a couple. I was like, snowstorm. So this is a warmer. Listen, and they like saying, oh, yesterday was warmer than it was. Listen, words have meaning. Don't say shit is warmer when it's not as cold, right? That shit don't make it. That my brain don't process that. I live in San Diego, bro. That shit, and I'm from Jamaica. We were like right across the equator. Like, I no, the shit was cold,
Why
but
does the Earth have to cater to you, though?
wow, to the area, area. Yeah,
Mm.
drink. You saw it start already. You saw it start already. All right. Anyway, the Earth
Yeah,
is
I know.
indicated to me. All I'm saying is, despite all of that shit, Frosty Faustin was a fucking dope ass event, and I enjoyed myself thoroughly going to
I'm
that
gonna
event.
definitely, I'm gonna have to definitely ask you to share some of your war stories there, and
Yeah,
everything
for
that went
real.
down, because that sounds like it. You sounded like you had a great time. It was
Hmm.
one of the rare times where when you had compared it to Final Round to me, that's when I knew that, oh, not only did he really enjoy himself, that also means that the folks that put it on, they did an amazing job.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I got notes about
And
them too. Yeah, for sure.
and they had to, because this same weekend they were running a Tekken event with, I think, over 200 something people, something like that, like
Hmm.
271 people, 217.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were doing that the same weekend as the TWT finals, which we're going to talk about a little bit. Gonna shout out Gerlanda, Big Dad Energy, for all of us out there. Talk a little bit about the Tekken 8 announcements and stuff they showed. A little bit look over the results there. Definitely some chaos in that Group A, to say the least. We'll have our final round 2018 post mortem, I guess you can call it.
2016, final round 19. Or
I'm
final
sorry,
round 9.
final round 19, which was in 2016.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about our experiences there. That, for those that don't know, this was, or then those that do know, this was the year that at final round, which was a one of the original majors in the world, was based out of Atlanta. Um,
The East
that
Coast
year was
Sleeper.
the year that Street Fighter V dropped, and we were the very first Street Fighter V tournament of the year, and which was nothing new to Final Round. We were regularly like the first major of the the tournament season, if you will, and so a lot of things kind of
We were the
broke on
testing
our
ground.
watch. Yeah,
Don't sugarcoat it. We were the testing ground.
we were the testing ground for, you know what? I'm gonna behave. It's too early to start getting myself in trouble. So, but we'll just say that there was a lot of things that went wrong there, and there was an incident where a TO for another major went out and kind of used what was going on to market themselves and their event. And there was a lot of ugliness that went down afterwards. And David, has quite the tale there. I'll contribute what my experiences were as well, because I think it'd be very helpful for some of these younger TOs, newer TOs, a lot of TOs that, want to work majors and do big things. They, you have to understand what you're getting yourself into when you do this. And then finally, we'll wrap up with our, like a listener call-in section. So if y'all want to pop in and contribute, request speaker, we'll throw you in during that time period, and we'll, get on here and talk whatever we want, whatever we want to talk about that concerns TOs, the FGC, or whatever we happen to kind of go towards. And then uh, I think that's about it. Yep, that's it. So we'll also be
Yes.
definitely leaning on Jordan for that final round segment as well. So again,
Oh,
next
hey,
Tuesday's
wait, one,
Valentine's
one
Day.
second. One
What?
second.
Yes,
I need to talk about the Nest too.
yes,
We have to
ma'am,
do
you
that,
Yeah.
do.
please. Yeah.
So
Go
I'm
I'll put
gonna
it
ahead.
give the
after
floor to
everything.
Aziza, and then
No,
I'm gonna go.
now. Talk about it now.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, while
Talk
you
about
do
it
that,
now.
I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and I'm gonna link the tweets for them as well while you do that.
There you go.
Okay. So, yeah, so Devin, Lord, um, D South, he has great made it a tournament format that basically highlights more of the player and more of the stories of what's going on in the scene. We're not going to be doing interviews this week because of timing schedules and stuff like that. But next week we will have the interviews again, and we still have the analyst desk from after the whole tournament. But it was going right great. Thank you, Padia. Padia is literally um one of the easiest systems that I have, and I have a team of great players that did the brackets, um helped out with casting, helped out with like all the essential stuff, and did the analyst desk, and also um we got the host on board who is great with wrestling, like does wrestling commentary and stuff like that. She's like just exuberant of energy, Cresta Star. But like literally, we completed the second week. We're gonna put the point system up soon. But to qualify for the finals, we have 2 more weeks. If you get first place, you're automatically in. If you accumulate enough points for um, you get from fifth to eighth place, and then we just gonna run the finals on March 1st, and we're still accumulating some sponsors for that too. Um, it's guaranteed 500. Um, it's guaranteed 500 plus because there's definitely more people putting a lot of money into that. So it's really exciting um, because we're showing off literally locals in your area and like actually interviewing, since you're interviewing always talks about your locals, and everybody's talking about the locals that they go to, like South Florida, Flint, and North Virginia DMV is the Cave. A lot of people from the Cave are coming out, and right now the Cave is running this tournament like really strongly. So I don't know. It's really fun. It's growing in strength, and we already are planning the next short season, and yeah, this is uh this is a nest.
Thank you, ma'am. I've also added to the tweet chain. If someone wants to go look at the Twitter Space announcement, they'll probably be able to swipe through. We've got the announcement for Strive this week, as well as the information for Padia that you had posted. So that's awesome stuff that y'all are doing out there. It's fun seeing the progression. There's a hopefully we start to see more of an evolution from production. We saw at the TWT finals, and we'll touch on this when we get to TWT finals. But they finally started going to multiple stations. They did away with the stage during pools. Okay, let's go to this game and this game. This is something that online events like Trace Complete, um, Spirit Realm, Fly Tech, Chicago Tech guys. That's stuff that they've all been doing. Anyone that's experienced online TO is able to kind of go through games to game to game, and we're finally seeing that now in the offline setting. So, uh, great stuff, Aziza. Thank you once again, and I guess we'll go ahead and get right into Frosty Faustings. Number again, Valentine's Day is next Tuesday, y'all. Don't be going to a tournament and come back and then be like, I was gonna win, and then with the money I won, I was gonna take us to dinner, but I lost, and then I lost more money in the money matches. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. You need to be the FGC needs to start having bed frames, y'all. We need to do better. All right. So make that your Valentine's
But
Day present to yourself at least. Get
but
yourself a
they
bed
sleep on
frame.
the floor in Japan.
That's great. You know what? That's absolutely phenomenal. I admire their journey. Oh, Frosty Faustings, though. Frosty Faustings has been going on for several years now. I apologize, I don't have the exact date on me. We had Raina on the show last season. Shout outs to Raina and her team. They did an awesome job. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. Some of the general things before we get to the postcard from our Uncle Traveling David, if we have any Fraggle Rock fans in the audience. But we had it was the Arc Revo World Tour qualifier, and it was the last one for Guilty Gear Strive. Um, it was also the last one for DNF Duel. So if you're not familiar with how the Arc Revo World Tour format, they've had several. They've had about 8 different events this year where the winner qualifies for the finals, which will take place March 11th of this year. That's going to be for both Guilty Gear Strive and DNF Duel. We now have our 8 finalists for both games. Tempest NYC, New York Leo player, however we want to pronounce him, won Frosty Faustings.
Mm.
A lot of folks said it was long overdue. I think he's been one of the most consistent placing players in Strive, throughout the season. So awesome to see him get in. Uh, he beat Latif to get in. Poor Latif had that's 2 tournaments where he got runner up. He also got runner up back in October at the mix up. Lost to Zando, an Israeli Ramlethal player who is also qualified. Umi Sho, Happy Chaos player, former Overwatch pro, was our Evo Championship winner. Skill, a French Soul and Kai player, won VS fighting for that spot. Rev Major was won by Gobo, who is a Japanese Gold Lewis and Zatoichi player. CEO Taku was won by NBN HMR. Um, if that's standing for something or supposed to be pronounced, I apologize. American Nagoriyuki player. We've already talked about the mix-up. Fighter Spirit Mochi, Japanese Soul player. And then finally, the final qualifier from the Arc Revo Japan tournament back in December is Tai, Japanese Giovanna player, also has a chip as well. But those are your 8. So Umisho, Skill, Gobo, NVNHMR, Zondo, Mochi, Tai, and Tempest. So we've got a Leo, a Geo, a Soul, a Ram, a Nagoriyuki, a Zato, a Happy Chaos, possibly a Kai and a Gold Lewis. So uh, congratulations to those folks. Great job. Good luck to you in March. I believe the Arc Revo World Tour Finals are in the U.S. I'm drawing a blank on
Oh,
where it
it's
is.
Nubenheimer.
Is it what?
His name is Nubenheimer.
Okay,
Mm.
okay. I thought that was the name of the town that the finals were in. I was about to be like, where the hell did they find that?
Nubenheimer? I would not
Nubenheimer,
know.
gotcha. So Nubenheimer is the Nagoriyuki player that won CEO Taku back in September. So, uh, in fact, he kind of dominated that grand final set. It looks they won 3-0, and looks like they had the 4th largest prize pool payout for them. They ended up taking home a little over $5,000 in that one. Good stuff, Nubenheimer. But DNF Duel, we have our qualifiers there, so I won't, VS Fighting, Goichi won. Goichi was playing Swiftmaster for that event. Rev Major, the winner there was a Korean Ghostblade player, Yu Songcha. CEO Taku and the Mix-Up were both won by a UK Hitman player named Mystic. So he beat Lost Soul at CEO Taku and got his qualifier spot. And I believe the individual that they beat in at the mix-up K-Top, who's a Greek hitman player. I believe K-Top gets that spot. If I'm incorrect there, if anyone feel free to chime in, tell me I'm full of it, and if or wait till the end when we have the viewer feedback or listener feedback, and y'all can tell me I'm dumb then. Fighter Spirit, we had Kikyo-chan, a Japanese Ranger player, Nanpan, a Japanese striker player, Arc Revo Japan, and our Frosty Faustings champion. We got some representation. Kubo, the Japanese grappler player. Grappler is in the DNF Duel Finals, y'all. It is a wonderful day. I cannot wait for coin flips to happen. But congratulations to all those folks. They have I'm not sure how that's working out with trips and everything, but they have all made it to the finals. Um, KOF was also very popular at Frosty. David, I'd love to hear what you saw from the crowd, especially during some of these top eights and pools and stuff. Um, but Lacid from Korea was our KOF champion. Uh, and so, David, what
Yeah.
what did tell us all about your experience and what just
Oh
I mean that
man.
you were there, you were boots on the ground. Usually we go to Aziza while she's there, and then she has to herd all of her cats, with the rest of the dynamic focus. Well, I guess all of her birds, we should say. So,
That's funny.
so she's she's
Herbert.
trying to tell us, and she's trying to keep her sanity and keep her team together. But you get to tell us afterwards. So tell us about it.
Man, I don't even know how to properly describe it, to tell you the truth. It was one of those things where it it really felt good, right? All right, so let's talk about originally what I did. I didn't register properly, right? I registered for the side games. I didn't register for the main tournament.
How
They
dare you?
You were doing research, right? You were just trying to test what their procedures were, what the
I was,
SOPs were
I
in
was,
place.
I was
That's I
secret,
got you. I
I
got you.
was secret shopping as a TO, right? So as
Mhm.
someone as an experienced TO, I secret shop them. So I show up and I'm late. I have my not late, but I'm there Thursday night, and I go to the Jordan's doppelganger. I go to Jordan's doppelganger. He looks just like Jordan, but with black hair. So I go up. I talked to like one or two people first, staff. Customer service, off the chain. Ridiculous. They were super nice, welcoming and everything. I told them my situation. They're like, the one guy said, like, yo, I can't help you, but maybe Dennis can help you. His name was Dennis. And Dennis was like, all right, check it out. Did you sign up? I was like, oh man, we're probably at capacity, man. I probably can't let you in. Because I was like, and I started chopping it up with him a little bit. I was like, oh, y'all fire marshal coming out and hanging out in y'all ballroom too? And they're like, yeah, man. I was like, oh yeah, we went through that. I was like, I work in Final Round. He's like, fuck. Everybody was like, bro, we heard so much about Final Round, never had a chance to come. And that's one of the things that SBI is going to be working on too. I'm tired of TOs not going to other people's events. And we're going to try to create a fund to get these TOs to actually go. And bro, we're not rich. We're not rich people. Let's just put it out there. We're not. And when these events are not, they're not cash cows. Not for the people that do it, still very grassroots. So anyway, he registers me, he gets me in, but you know how we do. They planned for some buffer, but 3,500 was their capacity, and it was pretty dope. Um, Customer service dope. They had shuttle buses going to different hotels. So they had neighboring hotels because their hotel was sold out. They were had shuttle buses, free shuttle buses, by the way, for the participants of the event, going to different ones at scheduled times, which I thought was dope. And I'm not talking about no fucking hotel shuttle bus that's like one of those Ford vans that he used to make. Nah, I'm talking about the cross
Little van
country
with like
buses.
6 seats in there.
Right. No, I'm talking about the cross country buses. That's
No
what they
creative
had.
world of daycare learning center van.
Nah, bro, not
Yo,
that,
the La
bro.
Petite joint.
Real buses. They had, and I was like, bro, I was super impressed by that, right?
I was impressed
Um,
by the La Petite reference personally, but Cook.
Hey,
oh wow, this dude. Anyway, then I want to talk about their vendors. Vendors were dope. They had a lot of art gallery vendors, but that's all. Vendors, people that were selling video games and all this other shit. we actually met a server that sold an original copy of 007 GoldenEye at the event because she had two copies. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you even selling that? You should go to eBay and make so much more money. But whatever. Anyway, I'll get into that later. Old man stuff. Bruh, the shit was crazy. They had clothes. CVS2 held me up. The location. All right, let's talk about the location. Where they were at was in kind of like a mallish area, ish, mind you, a mall-ish area. They had a Target there, so if you wanted to go and be economical about your trip, you didn't have to spend any money buying food that was outside of your price range. They had a mall in there, and there was so many other places that you could go to eat outside of the hotel, and you could eat in the hotel as well because, quite frankly, it was cold. So the location is amazing because it allows for foot traffic to get and do everything they need, either whether it be clothes, electronics, whatever. They could have gotten it, and then this came back to the event.
David, can I interrupt you real quick? Because I want to
Mm,
point out something, how important this is. And as soon as you hear me go, I think you'll attest to this as well. Uh, Especially with these larger events, I think one thing that all TOs need to strive for um, is to make sure that your event is more than the tournament. And the reason I say that, it's very simple. Number one, if you're going to charge people a room fee, you better make it worth their while to be in that room. Because here's the truth of the matter. By the time you have completed 2 rounds of the tournament, typically you do the first round and then you do the first round of losers. After that first round of losers, you have gotten 25% of that bracket is out of the event. They are no longer playing. And then the very next round, you lose another 25%. So in 3 rounds, the first round and then the first 2 rounds of losers, half of your tournament is out of the event. They are done for the day. Are you going to make them sit there and just watch games, or are you going to have stuff to do for them? And David, I'll pass back to you on that one. David,
Did he get hit with Dunlop?
did my stance there blow you away,
Uh-oh.
or did the chickens get him?
Shut up,
Chickens
man.
must have got
I
him.
forgot to unmute
That's
myself.
what got him.
God
The
damn it. I
chickens
hate you guys. I can never make a mistake in this bitch. Anyway, so
Yeah, you definitely get the chickens. Definitely got him.
Right? That's why I'm calling
shut
him
up.
Peter Griffin from now on. He's just fighting chickens.
TOs visiting. That's my next line. There were so many other
Wow, gonna just
TOs.
blow by my point about the importance of there
Ah.
being stuff. Wow,
my
slapping the
business.
bouquet out, slapping the carnations to the floor. I hate you. I'm going on mute.
all right, all right. So like, there were so many other TOs there. Casa was there, of course. We talked about Reina, but other TOs showed up, and they were there working, or you know what I mean, either working for the booth or working for the event itself. Tong was there. Tong and his crew was there, and I mean, like people were working, and it was so nice to see that. It had that family feel that Final Round has. You know what I'm talking about, John? I think you referred to it as a cookout feel. It had that cookout feel,
Family
but up
reunion.
north, yeah, it was a reunion. Shit was dope. I'm telling you. Then I want to talk about something that's very important because we're running into this issue now, and the people that are more marginalized in our community have a voice. I'm telling you, there were so many people of so many different every demographic was there, and I mean it. I'm talking from, you know, like, and that's the thing too that stood out to me because it was so cool to see that they were comfortable there. Was like what I saw in Vegas. You saw people from the trans community, people from the LGBTQ community. You know what I mean? Like just like, and of course, trans is a part of that community. Forgive me. You know, just chilling, boyfriends holding hands, kissing in public, like shit that you know what I mean that we're not accustomed to seeing that like down south, but that needs to happen because if I talk about it because it needs to be a safe space for everybody. There's a bunch of women there just chilling by themselves. They're like, I got pictures and I posted them on Twitter. There was a there where I was playing CVS2. There was a young lady fixing the cabinet. You understand what I'm saying? Like the days of all that old shit is dead, and we need to move forward, and that's real talk. You know what I mean? And I wanted to bring that up. The Tekken player that I talked to was the one that said it. It wasn't my words, but when he said it, it had so much truth for me. What's his name? Mishamized. He plays top eight at the event.
Yep,
What was his name? Mishamized.
mischievized.
Uh, bruh, we were outside talking in the cold and shit. You know, he was vaping, I was vaping, whatever. And he said, you know, he went to the last two final rounds, and he's been coming to this tournament for a while. We were outside actually chopping it up, talking about how cold it was. Even the Canadians thought it was cold. Just so
Well,
you
number
know.
one, why were you outside
Listen,
commenting
listen.
on, complaining on the cold that you were?
We because you can't vape in the building.
I'm
I mean, but you know that John, you know that the smokers they'll get frostbite over anything.
right.
Shut up. Let me finish. Anyway, he's the one that
It's a
said,
problem.
"Oh God." He's the one that said, yo, this tournament feels like the final round of the North. And when he said it, it was like that moment where, like, you remember when that one piece where Odin like cleared up and he saw the comparison between Luffy and fucking Roger? That's what it felt like. Like, holy shit, he's right. That's why I'm so comfortable here. A lot of the other tournaments that I go to feel very, very corporate. You understand what I'm saying? It's very dry. It's not a reunion. But here, people were hugging people, enjoying themselves. Yo, what up? What up? I see you and dapping people. The shit was dope. The shit was dope, and it was so big because I saw people's Twitter feed at the fact I'm like, God damn, you were there? Like I was looking for Moni and couldn't find Moni, and Moni was there. You understand what I'm saying? So, the shit was dope. There's other stuff that I wrote down just for my personal notes as it pertains to um, like this critiquing and looking at what they were doing and learning about how they manage their tournament. It was pretty dope. Um, I saw some other things that were concerning too. Still stuff like, listen, guys, if you have a large following, please tweet it out and let people know about the economy talks. We still run into people that are sleeping in ballrooms and all this other shit. Like my Frosty Fausting entry was, I think because I came in late, it was about $80 with fees. I haven't paid for Frosty Fausting's full yet. I've only paid for a quarter of it. You get what I'm saying? Because I paid for it in 4 installments on my PayPal. Could I afford the 80? Of course I could have. But what I'm trying to explain to people is that understanding your expenses and understanding your cash flow is super important as well. And the more educated we are, the more financially literate we are, the less issues that we run into. So the last thing I'll talk about before moving on is CVS2. So CVS2 happened, and I roomed with Dwayne, and I roomed with no Dwayne and some guys from New York, and I talked to Casa Bunch about this a lot over the weekend. And just so y'all know, we may argue on Twitter, but we Florida boys, man. So like, there's a deep rooted love there between Casa and Dwayne and myself, and I'm very proud of Dwayne also because I've known Dwayne since he was a teenager.
I
I'm
mean,
giving
New York
what's
is
it?
just cold Florida anyway.
It is. They do have Florida, man. There, just New York.
Yeah, that is definitely cold Florida. We've seen videos from the boroughs there. Like
Mm,
it's crazy.
exactly right. Trying to run
Look,
people
mind
over
your
and shit.
business, okay? Just mind your
Florida
business.
got gators. New York got rats.
Right. It's the same shit, bro. It's the same
They got
shit.
sewer gators.
Yeah, I'm sure
Mm,
they got Ninja Turtles.
you know what I mean? We got
Yeah,
what
we
was that
got
alligator's name?
we got pop.
Anyway, let me go. Let me
Oh,
go on. Let me go on.
oh
Let me go
yeah,
on.
the from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Forgot his
I
name.
forgot it. Yeah,
That threw crawfish at people. Yeah.
yeah. So like,
Mm.
I want people to know too, right? Like I said, this is all love and shit like that. This show, right? So CVS2, I'm playing it, right? Alex Jabali is in bracket with me. And there are only 2 brackets before we get to top 4. I'm like, all right, this is now, I'm still mad at Alex at this time. This is like Saturday or some shit. And I'm like, before that, why I brought up Dwayne and Casa was that they were both talking to me before the event and telling me, you know what I mean? Because they don't know what happened. And we're going to talk about in detail what happened at Final Round 19, right? And I'm going to talk about some things that I mentioned when I quit Final Round, but I'm going to talk about some more things that were not brought up, things that you weren't aware of. And that's one of the reasons why Jordan's here on this call, because people need to understand, like, there's a lot that goes into running events, and they can be difficult to run. You understand what I'm saying? Um, but Alex J. Bailey and I end up playing each other in winners finals for our pool. He beats me 2-0 because, you mean, the sticks are whatever they are, and I mean,
Man,
I'm not.
Oh no!
are you really
Shut
using
up.
that option
Don't
select?
you
I
dare!
am.
Oh my
I
god.
am. I am.
So
Don't you rob me of
you
this.
really are that player. See, so
D-
not only did you not pre-register, you got in at the door,
and I complained
and
about the
then you
things.
complained about the sticks. Yeah.
Yo,
Oh my.
I pulled a
To be
Chris G,
fair, this
bro.
would be the person that I would bump out of a tournament and be like, "Nah, this is
Right.
done. You're done.
Uh,
You're done."
David,
oh.
if you were undercover, you were in too deep.
Shut up.
You know,
You
if
and
you
your
did that
dad
on first
jokes.
strike, I would have kicked you out of the arcade right then. Just no.
Wow. Can I carry on with my story? Can I carry on?
Are you going to break our hearts again? Because this is sounding real Russian literature, not right now.
Oh,
As
wow.
like a TO, like it's like there's no hope. Even the TO screw you over.
You're right, because like they must have fucking put me there. Anyway, Dwayne and Casa gave me an earful about moving on and letting stuff go and being emotionally intelligent and being emotionally resilient. You're gonna understand after the show a lot why I was very distraught by what Alex did. What people don't know a lot is that Alex and I were friends for quite some time. I know his mom, his dad. I met his brothers. My kids have been to his house. Like, this isn't like some random motherfucker that's just hating on Alex Bailey because of his success. And he's mentioned me in his documentary and interviews. There would be no CEO without me. Let's be clear, right? He's the one that took the baton when I left Florida to go be a parent and, you know, I mean, try to come take care of my kids and all that shit with this job over here. I'm that calm warrior he's talking about. So, like, this is one of those situations where, um, go ahead, Aziza. Yeah, I understand, Mom. So like, this is one of those situations where people don't understand the history of what's going on. I'm the one that introduced Alex to Larry. So it's one of those situations where I'm very integral in even their meeting and their carrying on and whatnot. You understand what I'm saying? So me and Alex actually talked, and it was a lot. You know what I mean? Because I was not happy with him, and I spoke to him about my feelings about what he did and how he carried himself and how he behaved, and he gave me some points that I want to make sure that we talk about. Like, everybody's tournament, every tournament that's run is somebody's first tournament, and that needs to be considered. Because he mentioned, you understand what I'm saying? Because he was mentioning how, bro, people kept on coming up to him and asking him, like, if this is how a tournament was ran, or if this is,
That would explain what he said to me, word
you
for
understand?
word.
You understand? He hasn't changed his target. He hasn't changed his argument. So he's been truthful to that. You understand what I'm saying? And I want to be very clear. Like, even later and worse after doing all these TO talks and having several cathartic moments, I understand that now. I understand it now more than I ever did before. Remember, that tournament was the largest final round that we've ever had, and we either had to anywhere from
800 at the door.
right. We had over like I think Jordan, you're gonna have to correct me on this as to why you're here for certain statistical numbers. We had anywhere between 3 to 5 thousand people there, if I remember correctly, and it was crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So if it was like, keep in mind, if it was 10 to 15% of people there, and let's say we go with the highest number, it's either 300 or 500 people that could have had a new tournament event up to 650. And if this was their first tournament, seeing Final Round have to deal with the things that we had to deal with is, of course, you're gonna think it's whatever. But for everyone that's been going to Final Round for years and see it get better over the years, knows where we're coming from. And John, that tournament area that you were referring to, where Final Round was originally located, was Doraville. And
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
and right outside there was the what was it, Josh? The yellow place, the where the girl is that she does karate. She should put it in Tekken. The white girl that was fighting in what's the name of that place, bro? I'm old and I'm
Oh
tired.
wow.
Post
Waffle
Spawn
House.
Divots? Oh,
Nah,
Waffle House. Okay.
that's my
What's
difference.
wrong?
Waffle House, bro. That was John. That was the
You
location where the
sure?
Waffle House was right
Are you
outside.
serious? Wow.
You remember that shit?
Full circle.
Yeah, bro. That shit. There was a Waffle House right outside Final Round, and Doraville was, to me, Doraville was lit. But you know what I mean? It is what it
Yo,
is.
that's what
Buford
got me
So
Highway was amazing.
in the final round in the tournament series anyway.
yeah, so like
Just the area in that I'm telling you, man, that feel and that the drive is one of the things I always remember.
yeah, man. Final Round was lit over there, bro. So like you got to keep in mind, right? That shit was going on. So me and this fool are talking, bro, and we end up and we shake hands. I'm like, we need to talk about some more shit because you need to understand the level of what the damage that you caused. You know what I mean? And I don't think he understood because he wasn't there. And that's the thing. As you're running TOs, as you TOs are coming up, you need to understand that people only know what they see, right? And they see your players, they see the workers, they see staff, they see all this other shit, but they don't truly know what's going on. A couple pointers that I want to bring you that I personally did I deal with that caused me emotional stress was fuck. One of Larry's friends that was at Final Round every year, T Bear, died that year. Chris Tatarian came to me because he had lost his best friend to gun violence also that year. And
For
some
those
other
that didn't
shit.
know, T Bear was carjacked.
Yeah, he was carjacked and killed in Atlanta. So like, and you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm gonna go through all that when the time comes, but there was so much shit going on. And we were understaffed. Everybody wanted to come see Street Fighter 5. Nobody wanted to work. This was it was our largest tournament and our lowest turnout for staffing ever. And I want you to keep those facts in mind. And with that, that's all I have about Frosty Faustings. Like I said, me and Alex are cool. I mean, we ain't cool like we were before, like parents and kids coming over cool, but at least I won't see him and think of any vitriol in my heart and all the other shit. It's gone. There's more to talk about, but me and Alex should barely squash that shit. And I think that is like one of the two sum total people that I don't fuck with in the FGC. So there you go. At least maybe one or two more people, but whatever. People from my past. So there you have it. And with that, Frosty Faustings to me definitely has a feel of fucking Final Round. The way how the crowd responded to Top 8. I was watching Top 8 when Tempest won, and I felt bad for fucking what's his name? Dude that came from the Middle East. Oh boy,
Latif.
that Latif that used to play in
I
Street
thought
Fighter
Latif
4.
was. I thought he was based out of the U.S. Wasn't he
Nah, bro, he
West Coast or
moved.
New York?
He
Oh, he
was here.
moved.
He
Okay.
moved. He moved. He moved back home and shit. And like he got, you remember Latif was hella skinny when he was here, bro. I
Yeah, but
don't
he's
recognize him.
always been one of the best Zatos though. Like he's
Yeah.
always been one of the best Eddie
Mm-hmm.
players.
Mm-hmm. No arguments. Nah, no arguments. So like him coming back, I watched that match and I watched how both of them were evolving in the match. And Latif dragged that boy until Tempest got his wits about him because it looked like Latif had him shook for a minute the way how Latif was coming back. And then that shit just like, I don't know what happened, bro. Like, I don't know if I want to play that game. These motherfucking kids be talking about our games are cheap. That fucking game looks cheap as shit. I do not know about anything, but they're like, oh, it's so simple. Not really. Not if you. That game forces you to play the player. You know how right now people play optimized? I think Guilty Gear, in watching it, especially at that high level, it forces you to play who you're playing against. Because the amount of mix up that Latif had to put that boy through in order to put him back in losers was kind of crazy. And it was nice to see. Well, it was really entertaining. And the entire ballroom was watching. Did I get to see all these other stuff? No, because I was playing CVS 2. I was being an old man. I was playing Street Fighter 5. I was walking around the ballroom. I was helping Raina. I was kissing babies and shaking hands and shit like that. I was, I don't know. I was working. I was doing
Allegedly.
business, allegedly, business dev, business dev, and that's all I got, man. But it
Never
was a
run
dope
out.
tournament, and I intend to go back next year. It is, matter of fact, I want to go back and I want to work. I want to go back and I want to work there. That's how
That's
much
awesome.
I enjoyed myself. Real shit.
That's awesome. That I can makes me want to go now. I'm like just hearing that because it sounds like they've really captured that having that strong local regional scene. Like it's based out of Chicago, so the Chicago scene, they've done a great job kind of coalescing, getting stronger as well. But then the surrounding areas, very similar to like you said, Final Round, where Atlanta was the hub, and then
Right.
the surrounding areas, Tennessee, you got all the way out to Memphis, Tennessee, down to Louisiana, down to New Orleans, down off all the way down to Miami, up to the
Yeah, New York.
DC
Yeah.
Maryland, and all the way to New York would come down as well. So it's
Right.
having that strong base. That's I think that speaks highly to not just the TOs there, but to the culture that they've developed. It's very similar to Final Round on the back end. It feels like when I was at Combo Breaker, just watching how some of those core staff people interacted with each other. It reminded me of, look, these are friends, and they're having a great time putting on
Right.
something that's going to be a
Community
Right.
building.
memorable experience.
Family.
Right. Right. You know what I mean? It was pretty dope.
Like
It's pretty
family.
dope.
So we've talked about Frosty Faustings. Let's roll right into the TWT finals. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish I had watched more of Frosty. I was glued to the TWT finals all weekend. Um, I had to take my mom to the airport Saturday morning. I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. So I basically started watching an hour after it started, and golly, uh, I was exhausted just watching the event because of what was going, like just everything that was going on. There was so much happening. Like I can only imagine the exhaustion that like the staff felt. Like Mark, I see you in there. Congrats, yeah, dog. Great job to y'all. Because I don't know how the hell y'all kept the energy. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. I expected Rip and Steve to be fine. Like I was like they're gonna make it. They'll be a little tired, but they're gonna make it. But whew, y'all had a good rotation there, and just everyone did a bang up job. So thank y'all for what you did for that. It was an awesome event. I hope y'all have given yourself pats on the back there all around because it was awesome. I know that we're seeing people trying to jump on the outrage marketing now in regards to Tekken 8. Um, we had a 30. David,
Mm.
John, uh, oh,
Mhm.
could you imagine getting a 30-minute primer on a new
Oh,
system for a new game for like a new like and just uh,
Bruh, we
that
got
doesn't happen.
we got like 2 second flashes sometimes of like reused knuckle and like that was it. Like it was
Yep,
some wild shit. Like
yo,
there's
30
more
remember
minutes.
pixels.
having remember having to look at screenshots in EGM magazine trying to speculate if the red fireball was a glitch or if it actually did more damage. Remember those days?
Yes, I do actually. That's pretty that's too far back. These kids have no idea what we're
Oh,
talking
sorry,
about.
sorry, my bad. Gone too far.
Yeah, a little bit too
But,
far.
we had a 30-minute Tekken 8 trailer basically. We got to see everyone was talking about like want to see gameplay, want to see gameplay. Y'all got a preview of gameplay. You know, what was this? What did this do? Here you go. Now, there's been some we all understand how this goes. It's something new. Everyone spent the last few years playing this. This is what they're used to, and so there's some questions involved, which some of them are fair. Some of them I think is just people memeing because it's the internet. But
Clouds and
got
and such.
yeah, just yeah, wild assumptions. Um, in the face of information that contradicts it, but we won't go too much into that. But uh, we got to see a really cool story from there. We got to see my boy Josh, who's from Italy, now living out in Bulgaria. He's a family man. The man plays for, he tries to get like 2 hours of online training in a night. He's got two full-time jobs. He's got a baby. My man made it out of
Dude, he's
Group
doing a
A.
team dad. Like
Team, yeah,
all Tekken dads should be proud of this man who put like all of us on his back and carried us to the finals. Because I'm Team Gerlanda for life.
yeah. Like, and it couldn't have been to like a nicer dude. Like, he's a genuinely nice dude. He grinds, he minds his business and does his thing. So like, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That picture that they got where he's holding this kid and his wife's in the background, they're both crying. Like, oh,
Oh, that was
that's
whoever
that's picture of the year.
yeah, for sure,
Was that
for
Vexany that
sure.
got that? I don't
Yeah,
want to.
that
I
was
don't want to
Destiny.
miscredit. It was Vex. Man, she, 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 she got another one. That like that
Mhm.
Arslan ass picture that she had caught. She got another one. Like that was an amazing shot. I can't emphasize that enough. Um, yeah, but Orlando made it out of Group A, the group that had Ni and Arslan and Chikurin and Ao. It was the only pool that had two folks from the same region, because Al had qualified through the LCQ, and that's just kind of how it ended up. Um, you know, Divine Exorcist was in that pool as well. Was a solid Claudio player from Mexico who I think did a lot better than a lot of people probably just wrote him off. Very similar to probably Callum Buke's experience as well, the South African Eddie player. But I, I have nothing but good things to say about the finals. I understand that there's a I don't want to say complaint. Joey Fury put together a really good write up on some of the issues that he had seen and taken place. Um, that and it was very fair, and I think it definitely gave some things to think about going forward. I hope equal energy is paid to feedback given to all parties, and I'll just leave it at that. And that's not a shot at players. If you know, you know. Um, but otherwise, man, like again, I have nothing but good things to say about the TWT finals. Like as a viewer, I didn't get to go to Amsterdam, but just watching Tekken, getting information, and again, like it was exhausting. I mean, it was
In a good
long.
way.
They showed everything. Like the group stages, we saw all the matches for group stages.
That's crazy. People need to recognize how hard that is. That is crazy hard to
Uh,
get all that shit.
I mean, John, you understand how hard it is to commentate just for a top eight. Like that's why that's why I had to give Mark and company their flowers because
Yo, they held it down like the entire like shout out to them because all of them did an amazing job. Um, was it Samding
yep,
was the new commentator? Yeah, he
he's done a
actually
few he's done a few events before. I think he's
uh,
fun. I like Sam.
yeah, I like him too. I thought he did a great job. I just all the commentators did an amazing job. Um, I mean everybody was well informed. Um, and the energy was good. It was just a good event, and I normally, you kind of clock out after a little while watching that much Tekken, but it was good. Like I watched uh I pretty much watched almost all of LCQ into top eight into the finals, and
Hmm.
I don't normally put an entire day's worth of work into watching Tekken, but it actually made me do that. So
Dude, I'm with you because I had I mentioned to both of y'all in private that like I claimed that weekend as mine. I'm not doing anything. I am just doing this. Don't come to me and ask me to do anything because I'm gonna say, what did Daddy say 2 weeks ago? You said this was gonna be your weekend, and that's still my weekend.
Right.
So like I was committed to this, but I was also committed to like, okay, we've got NBA, we've got NHL, I've got the Pro Bowl that if I want to catch some football here between now and the Super Bowl, we had the UFC fight night, Lewis versus Spivak. Like I was planning on doing a bunch of stuff, and I just locked into Tekken. I haven't done that. I can't even remember the last time that I was just able to sit there and absorb. Like the attention fatigue that I had at the end of it all was real. Like I went into work tired. So that's why I tweeted what I had done at the beginning of the week, because I realized, while I was at work, I'm like, man, almost feel like I was at the event. Is this a little post-event blues already? And that's when it's like, you know what? This is a real issue that people talk about it that go to festivals. My brother's a big music festival person. He tells me about it all the time, and it's a real thing, y'all. So when you go to these events, especially if you work them, and David, you and Jordan will probably attest to this as well, especially when we get into stuff about Final Round 19. Especially if you work the event, or you're the type of person that makes sure you're up throughout it to experience as much as you can, get the most out of it, etc. That's awesome. Take care of yourself, though. If you don't take care of yourself during the event, be ready for the crash, because you're
Yep.
gonna that serotonin, that dopamine, that adrenaline, that's all gonna come crashing, and you're gonna have to regulate again. And then you're gonna be doing that while combating whatever tournament
Jet
virus
lag,
happens to be out
uh,
there, or
yeah,
jet lag.
whatever.
I mean, like you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. How do you do that? Be prepared. Understand that you're going to have these moods. Recognize them, identify them, and work through them. Process them best you can. Get your rest. You know, do what you need to do. Clear your head. I cannot express that enough. Like knock on wood, we haven't heard anything crazy about stuff, happening in relation to that yet. But uh, I don't ever want that to be an issue. So just take care of yourselves when you get back. All right. So I don't really have much else to discuss. I mean, I would just gush for the next. I can
Wow.
gush for like the next hour about
I mean,
TW2
I was going to
finals.
talk a little bit about the just the I guess the dev portion. I,
Ooh,
I
I
like I
want to
said,
listen.
I thought it was really good just because I like information like that because you usually have the one random person who will see a clip like that and then take it into the lab and then spend the next 38 hours on this one pixel trying to figure out, like I said, if the red fireball does more damage or whatever, whatever. So we actually got the developers to tell us, hey, this is how it works and this is what happens. And I, like I said, I think stuff like that is cool because now we can actually see and form, strategies and things like that around that. But then on top of that, they literally tell us, hey, we're gonna have location tests here. People who can make it here can test the game, and like this, they're telling us the process that we had to experience when they had the arcades, and we had to wait like 5 years in between games. Because I can guarantee at this point now that we're not going to have to wait nearly as long. And also, more people are going to be able to experience the game, and we're going to get to see the game actually turn into something more that we like, as opposed to getting versions of the game that everybody has to just deal with until, development, I guess, quote unquote, gets it right.
I agree, man. Like, there's a big difference between you know, and I want to point out that just because, we come from an era where, we might not have had it as good. We had to walk up the hill both ways to get to the arcade. we also
We had to pay for our
understand
game.
we understand updating our expectations though, and what people want to see is that they want to see significant stuff. They want a gameplay. They got it. And we're looking at it from our perspective of, man, this is so much better than a couple of, pictures that got put in a magazine that we happen to have a subscription to, like we get to actually see the game in action. We get to see the process. Like developers have never been more transparent. Yeah, and I don't think y'all understand the stress of, showing these things. I mean, I'm not. I'm trying to think of a good way to reach, like, to help people try and understand that. And again, this isn't a don't be don't have an eye for critique. Don't just be okay with anything. But I mean, understand. Let's say you're working on a painting, and you've got, like, a couple bases in, but you're still in, like, maybe only halfway through. You haven't started shading, highlighting, detail, stuff like that. And you start showing people, like, hey, here's the process. Then you get a bunch of people being like, "That I don't see blue. I don't see blue paint. They're not gonna have blue paint. This is gonna be a terrible painting. There's no blue paint. Oh my God. Oh, they better have blue paint in this painting." Like, yo, it's a work in progress. Let's kind of reset expectations here. I mean, we got to see. I mean, John, what was it like? That heat system. I could tell when Harada said that, it sounds complicated, but I promise when you get to, like, try it, it's a lot easier. And the
Right.
more I started thinking about it, I don't think he could have been more right. Like that when you try and it's like trying to trying to describe something and finally just being like, it's a Jersey thing, you wouldn't understand.
Right.
That just it
I
made
think
sense.
a lot of it is just people are trying to, in their mind, are trying to reinvent the wheel. And like you said, it's not what they were used to. It's new. It's got more flash. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't play the same. It's not the game that I played 15 years ago. But it's like it's it it's not going to be. It never is. That's the whole point of it being the new game. Like they have to do something different. On top of the fact that, like, everybody was talking about the like the lighting and everything, and then it's like, guys, it's still an alpha. It's pre-production. Our King of Fighters 15 just literally just had this whole process, this whole issue, like, what, almost 2 years ago,
Hmm.
like the exact same thing. It's like, guys, calm down. The game ain't out yet. Be patient, please.
Preach, preach. Is just, setting proper expectations instead of instead of coming from a place of fear. I think that's super, super, super important. And you know what? I'm going to be toxic for a moment. I'm going to be toxic. Y'all forgive me, but I'm going to be toxic for a moment. If your first Tekken was Tekken Tag 2 or Tekken 7, and you put out anything on Al Gore's internet about this not being real Tekken, let me think of something that won't get the spaces deleted and me banned. I hope you find God. Like, that's all I could give you. Like, I hope you find Jesus or something. I hope you find hope somewhere, because God, Lord knows, I don't have any hope left for you. Like, that's something right there where it's just like, come on now, you can do better than that. You just got here. Let's slow our roll. I'm not going over to Guilty Gear and saying Strive has ruined Guilty Gear. Granted, I hadn't played Guilty Gear seriously since Sharp Reload, but, like, y'all, I don't want to hear it. As someone that has played Tekken since Tekken 1, since we had to fight in the baseball stadium, and when Kazuya had the kicks and the jeans and the tank top, Tekken, it's always
I mean, back when
been Tekken.
Punch was a legitimate strategy
Bro, you want to
because
you
you
want to
couldn't get
complain
up.
about Akuma jump? Imagine having a floaty jump.
Imagine playing against King and his down
Mm.
4-1.
Oh my God. Right? You want to talk about like some competitive stuff, man? Like Tekken, it's still Tekken. It's still Tekken. It's not that it's not Tekken anymore. It's just that you're not a Tekken player anymore. That's it, and that's fine. But you can be a Tekken
Wow.
player still if you want to be.
Wow. Be nice.
You know what? You're right. You know, when I start being toxic, I become that poison gym leader. I got to stop. Let me stop and calm down.
Mm.
Understood.
But so TWT finals, amazing. Before I move on from the TWT finals, I especially want to thank the players because let's be honest, y'all. Even as people that have, even with the people in front of the camera, doing what they can to um, bring awareness of a player and their story and the event and Tekken and everything else to viewers who might not be familiar with it. From the TOs being boots on the ground, directing things, making the engine run, you know, to just everybody involved. But I especially want to thank the players because y'all, this you players are why these events are so memorable. They're why they're so fun, and they're why they go the way that they go. I recently caught some flack for wanting to take sole responsibility for something that I've always been very open about, where it was not just me. Um, and that's all I'm going to say on that because it ain't worth getting into. But y'all, the players, you are the ones that make this happen. And so thank you. Thank all of you for traveling out there, dealing with jet lag, dealing with the stress of being an event, and having a great time. It was awesome hearing about how much fun folks had that were traveling to Europe and people getting to meet up. I've been living vicariously through all the Twitter threads. It's just like, I mean, y'all remember going back on the message boards and after in the post tournament hype and aftermath section, you go in and then you put everybody that you talked to that weekend, and it's a page of just like 3.5 page long posts, just all on the first page of people seeing each other. And that's when you see that after events. I saw it a lot after Frosty and after TWT. And you know what, players at Frosty, thank y'all as well. Just players, all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we are ready for final round 19. So before we get into this, let me, David, what do you think? Should I go ahead and give a little background on this? Do you want to just dive right into it and go from there? What do you think? I want
I
you to
think you
drive this
should
one.
give, yeah, go ahead and give a little background, and then because I think the setting up the world has to be a part of the story, right? People have to understand the whole atmosphere of what happened pre-tournament, during the tournament, post-tournament, right? Like they need to get an idea of what it is, you know what I mean? And like, and let's be real, like out of final round two, let's just be clear, a lot of monumental TOs have come out of final round. How many other organizations can say that?
Oh, we got a coaching tree now. That
You
coaching tree
understand?
is nice.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's the reality that people need to understand. Like when you're building an event or you're doing something, how are you helping the people that are working for you to build their resume, to go on and move on and be great? You know what I mean? After you, because they're gonna do their own thing, you're gonna do your own thing. It's a part of the culture. That's why I compare it so much to rap. No two rappers sound the same unless you're like, Ghostface Killer and that white dude and Nas and the Game. But whatever. But it's just
Huh?
one of those things where people need to understand everything. So yeah, man, please, if you would be so kind, if you would go ahead and set the background.
Yes, sir. Just to give you a heads up, I'm going to try and present this in the perspective of a player that was there and had no idea to the inner workings. Um, I might have some details in there just because, yeah, that was a traumatic experience. I'm going to be very upfront. That was a traumatic experience, and we'll talk about a little bit more of that as well. Um, 2016, right, guys? I want to make sure I'm getting that year right.
I think so. Is it 12, 15, or 16? I'm pretty sure it's
It
16.
was,
Final round 19, so it was 2016. Yeah.
yeah, it was final round 19, which I believe was taking place in 2016. Um, this was the first Street Fighter 5. major. So this was the very first major for Street Fighter V. Were we part of the Capcom Pro Tour then? I was on the other side of the house, so I have to
I'm
ask.
here's the
That
thing.
that was the very beginning of the Capcom Pro Tour. The first launch of that, it was the Capcom Cup, is what it was called
Gotcha.
beforehand.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. People knew we were doing the tournament. People didn't know that we were part of the circuit until like a month or a couple of weeks before the event,
Hmm.
which created the swell and also something that affected our tournament schedule. So
Hmm.
let's not forget that. So take your
Hmm.
notes. Go ahead.
So so this was the very first major with Street Fighter V, and so one of the things about Final Round, as you've probably heard as we were talking about Frosty and everything, is that very community oriented, very much. We're all family. We're all trying to work together, and we do what we can to accommodate. And one of the things, if you hear about old tournaments, you hear about how they used to run until way past, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. If you come from the Smash community, that y'all still they still do that. But they go and they finish their games wherever they need to. Um, but first Street Fighter V major, we had a bunch of different things kind of going on. We weren't sure, what all we were going to be having in terms of dev assistance. The reality was that there were times where we wouldn't know until 2 weeks before the event whether or not we were going to be a part of something. We found out also a very similar last second nature that we were going to be a for one of the, I guess, the betas for Tekken 7. For the, John was it was yes, because Tekken 7 had already been out in arcade, so
It
this
was
was
second
basically the
second.
console version, right? Yeah, and so it
Mhm.
was, and this was the Fated Retribution build too, wasn't it? It wasn't 7.0. I
I
I might be wrong there. I couldn't tell off the top of my head,
can't
but
remember
we basically had a bunch of PlayStations. Um, By the way, Mark, I dropped the combo because those setups were laggy. Yeah, I'm gonna pull a David on that one. But
either.
no, but no, they were seriously laggy though, and it's my first time playing the game. How am I supposed to know I had an inconsistent combo? But I digress. I had a I had a ton
Man,
of
that
fun
sounds
playing
like
Tekken 7. No, you know what? No, I'm gonna project this now. I take everything on the chin. If David could blame it on sticks after not registering on time, I can blame it on a system for a game that I probably wouldn't have gotten to play otherwise. But I'm
The
still gonna be
whole
ungrateful.
time, the whole time he's talking about them, he was setting up the shit to come around back to me, John. I want you to know this.
Listen, I love
Oh, I
stand
knew
up.
he
I
would.
love the callback. I'm a big fan of the callback. But anyways, during the event though, and I think to describe this from the standpoint of someone attending the event kind of really doesn't tell anything. But you know what? I'm gonna just try and do that because that'll allow things to unfold more here. We start peeling layers off the onion. Um,
Right,
Long story short, we final round was the last major tournament that had on-site registration,
right.
and the reason for that was a couple of reasons. Number one, in Atlanta, it was really hard for some of the folks, to just have the time available, have the money available to be able to make these events. And Larry understood that. He worked with a lot of folks there, and as a result, they would take people at the door. We were originally not going to do that, right,
We
Jordan? I
had
thought we were
stopped
going to
that.
try.
Yeah, we had stopped that because that was one of the main reasons Kaya left. But I'll let Jordan say his piece on that because he was the one dealing with registration and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Now I'm probably going to get some of this wrong, so as Jordan and you get to talk, you'll probably have to correct some of this stuff. But
Right.
we had, from what I remember being told, we had 800 people at the door. Yo, 800 people at the door
Now
to
these were not.
register. That's
These
not
were
picking up your
not.
badge.
Hotel
Right.
that does not deal with capacity like that.
Right. You got to understand what that does to your schedule. You got to understand what that does to your stuff. And remember, we did not, we were not able to tell people we were a part of Capcom Cup until like, I think 30 days before the event.
Mhm. And David, when y'all speak on that, make sure you go into detail on why that's an issue and what events
Yeah,
have
of
to deal with in
course.
terms of deposits and rooms and
Exactly.
all that stuff. But so that went down. just that was a rough call. There were some other things that happened on the back end that Jordan will fill us in on that resulted in Jordan. I don't think you didn't get to sleep until Sunday, right? Like you stayed up Friday all night. I remember that. I remember you and David were just up the whole time.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but we there were some issues where because of the issues on the back end and well, I'll just go ahead and say it outright. Final round was the first tournament that ever had its own pre-registration system where we would reveal the brackets and stuff for the players and such. And we did that through Kaya Bob Smack. Start GG came around. It was then known Smash GG, and they got involved, and they wanted to be like we were going to be using them. We had an issue with a database migration, if I'm not mistaken, the week of that caused a lot of issues and just there was a lot of issues. Smash GG is not the start GG was not the start GG y'all know today. It was
That piece of shit
very different.
Volvo VW bug is not the Porsche that you motherfuckers are driving today.
Yeah, it was mm, yeah, it was tough, but we as a result though, a lot of things had to be changed because not only did we have this new system which was not functioning as advertised, we were also having to update with all these people that had came in. Bad decision on our part to have the at the door. We should have just put our foot down. I'd also like to point out that 800 people playing at the door is also a lot of money to turn away when you've had to pay extra in deposits and everything else because you weren't able to advertise as you should have. Um, so not saying it's anybody else's fault, but there are definitely some influencing factors. And finally, it kind of culminated in a sense where it was overcrowded, it was overheated,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was understaffed. We had people who just flaked on
Didn't
us.
show up. People
Yep,
that came
Yeah.
and then not and then stopped working.
yep,
People that came or people that
Literally,
came
yeah.
like Jordan. Jordan reminded me. People that came and then got distracted and go watching another tournament while holding up the tournament that they were supposed to run. So executive staff had to go get the bracket from them. Like it was the even the quality of volunteers had went down, and there's no shot on them because I know what it is to be at final round and be surrounded by all that hype and not want to partake of it. I understand that wholeheartedly. I do.
and so things kind of it just everything ran late. Not only did it run late, but people had their pools changed Friday night. That's unforgivable. That created an awful experience for a lot of people. Um, it just everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and unfortunately, it didn't stop there. Um, as you heard David mention earlier, TOs need to go to other TOs tournaments and help them. That was something I did a couple years ago. I had a lot of feelings because of my experiences at final round. I said, you know what? It's time to forgive. It's time to move forward. Let's go learn from who's still going today. Let's go to CEO. Let's work there. Let's see what they do that's successful and try and update my skill set to make sure that I could still contribute. Went to Combo Breaker, did the same thing. Got invited to Evo, did the same thing. It's and that being a TO, there's that almost that inner need to help and to a point where you get yourself in trouble. That didn't happen for us. Like I said, we were understaffed. Now, if I see a turn, I can't even go to a local without helping. So when the TO of another major, instead of helping, decides to go against what he was told by that the event organizer of that event and market his event and say, "Hey, come to CEO where you can see how a real tournament is ran," and which that will also be I think a little bit of David's talk as well. And I think we're kind of at a point now where for the most part people are caught up. Everything blew up at final round 19. There were some decisions that were made that were wrong decisions. Let's just be honest. They were bad decisions. Database migration the week of, leaning on start GG, or Smash GG at the time. Some bad decisions. but I
I'll
I'm gonna pass
defer
it
to
off to y'all
them.
because
Yeah,
I'm starting to get frustrated just remembering stuff. So I'm gonna go
right.
ahead and
And
step
that's the
away.
thing, right? And let's be
Right.
clear. That was the final round that I quit. I left that final round. After that final round, I tagged Guido. I don't know if y'all follow me. I broke down crying outside final round at the end. I like uncontrollably crying. Only three people saw me cry: Jordan, Guido, and his wife. And Guido's wife was her. It was her first final round, and she saw the person that was running the event break down and cry uncontrollably for minutes. I was trying to stop myself from crying, and I couldn't. I couldn't stop myself from crying. Broke down, and I'll explain that shit to y'all. But Jordan, unmute yourself, please, and unmute yourself for the rest of this call because you're a major part of, like I said, what made Final Round successful that year, right? Because without you, I can't imagine how the tournament
It
would
wouldn't
have
have been
gone that
done.
year. It wouldn't have been done at all, right?
Yeah.
And
No,
let's
it
be
really
real.
wouldn't.
And was that the year, Jordan, where the guy that used to work at Season Beatings helped out too?
Um,
I think it
I believe
was.
so.
I think it was. So that's the reason why you always hear me talk well about Seasons Beatings. It's because like there were certain people in the community that just moved different, man. That shit was amazing. So a lot of things that you guys don't know that you need to talk. Let's bring some other further context into this, right? Pre Final Round 19, uh, my cohorts and podcast members are not going to call names. I went through certain things that they're not aware of because the way how Larry managed Final Round was very compartmentalized. And therefore, only certain people knew about certain things. Certain people had access to certain monies, certain people had access to the email, certain people had access to whatever, right? And I have no problem with how a man chooses to, stock his fridge. That's on him. What I'm saying to you is there's stuff that I'm probably going to bring to this conversation that they've never heard before. So, Jordan, is that you typing?
Yeah, that's me typing. Sorry.
Yeah. So, oh, this if you gotta type this mute. Um, Final Round started off that year where Larry wanted to do something called Final Round Paradise in San Diego. Um, we were not aware that Final Round Paradise was even happening, and by we I mean the senior staff. Big E knew. Some other people knew. We did not know. Josh, were you aware? Because I remember one time when you and I talked, you were like, "What the fuck is paradise?" And I was like, "Bro, I don't know." He's like, "Well, it's in San Diego," and I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck it is." And let's add to it because people were giving me shit about it, and I remember this. There was a typo on the flyer, and they anyway. Why do I bring that up? Because we have an English major on our staff that used to edit our shit. And Larry kept that shit so close to the chest that he put it out to the world and didn't have it edited or checked before it got out to the world. And it went out with a typo.
To answer your question about what if I knew, I I knew about it. I think I knew about it a few like 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 2 to 6 weeks before he had flown out there to check stuff out. Um, I do remember it being like kind of brought up like, hey, I want to expand to the West Coast. I remember it had been mentioned, but yeah, so I just wanted to contribute. That's when I knew. I don't know if that's earlier than you,
Right.
but
No, that it wasn't. And I lived here. Um, what you also need to know is that that tournament didn't happen. It was canceled. Any of you that have done large events or rented large ballroom, whenever you cancel a tournament space that large, there's an attrition fee that goes in with that, right? That attrition fee was over $25,000. So Larry was dealing with that coming into final round 19, right? I'm talking about my lived experience. I'm not gonna like go too much into Larry and his decision making and all the other stuff. but like keep that in mind, right? Um, so we have that happens. Um, that year as well, because everything got advertised late, the Japanese signed up late. Goichi, Tokido, all those fools. They signed up late for the event. I, being the tournament organizer that I am, put them in where they signed up at. The community, especially the Street Fighter community, started complaining, saying that's unfair. The Japanese won't have a fair chance, blah, 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 blah. But we already started seeding the bracket for an event that was the largest event, and we had more people coming at the door. Right? So you're talking about something that is hot and heavy. Again, something else that would come up because that decision there is one of the reasons why Jordan was up all Friday night, because Larry decided to change the bracket because the community were complaining that the Japanese would have been eliminating themselves. Right now, in this day and age, every one of you would be like, nobody cares.
Mm.
But Larry is not like that. Larry cares about the community and what they say and what they want to view and all this other stuff. So that was a lot of pressure for him. And that shit was like a lot, right? And this is one of the things where I get mad about the community and the power that they have and the power that they don't understand that they have is that you run your mouth and you talk shit to people and you don't think about the repercussions or the ramifications of your actions. Not coming at you, but like on some real shit, like think about what you do before you actually do it. That happens. For Tekken, Josh, you're not aware of this, but there was a meeting that happened with Bandai Namco and Larry to get Larry not only additional funds, but monies for the event. What happened afterwards is that I heard that my name was called in that meeting, approving numbers and things where that didn't happen. So someone used libel, slander, and corporate sabotage against us because you were undersupplied as well, because you were supposed to have a certain amount of staffing and all this other shit. And Larry, you remember back then, I don't know any other tournament that was bigger than Final Round as it pertained to Tekken. JDCR had been coming for years. I I I I wasn't aware. Maybe I'm not up on all the things because I wasn't gonna
I
make
uh,
Tekken
I
Zaibatsu like that.
I will always make the claim that Final Round was the home of Tekken.
Right.
I can't be convinced otherwise.
You understand what I'm saying? So we carry on, right? So you have Capcom not giving us leeway to market that we're part of the tour. You got bullshit that happened with Bandai Namco where my name was called in an illegal setting, and I still have to address that because that's the only other person that I don't fuck with in the FGC, right? Um, and some other, like we weren't marketed properly on Twitch. We were not on the front page. When is Final Round, the tournament that's leading the fucking charge as it trades to Street Fighter 5 and being one of the test locations for Tekken 7, not on the front page of Twitch? Because we weren't. Also, Event Hubs was there, and Event Hubs was kind of a big deal back then as it pertained to marketing your tournament. Event Hubs didn't have us on their front page. Go look it up.
That might have been my bad because they had banned me.
Nah, bro, I knew Velociraptor, and I had to do some politicking with that fool at the tournament about that shit. You remember, I'm a LA, I'm a Cali boy at this point, and so was he. He was over here for school. And I had to hit him up and talk to him, you know what I mean? We chopped it up like men, and the shit was, you know what I mean? We shook hands, but he was like, bro, you're right. Because I was like, yeah, bro, how the fuck are we not on the front page, bro? What are you talking about? You're here right now reporting, and you still haven't put us up there. What kind of shit is that? Like, there was a lot of shit that people don't understand about what was going on, right? And it is, remember, we're pushing now 3,000 to 5,000 people at the event. How many of our people there at the first time, and all this other stuff, right? Before the tournament, I had to deal with getting uh, autographers. I had to get more systems from Sony. I had to get fucking deals with 10-0 and fucking Spooky because there was a team tournament on that Friday night for Street Fighter 5, and we were getting into, contract negotiations about who wanted to stream it, whether it would have been the official Capcom streamer 10-0 or Spooky. There was a lot of stuff going on that people don't understand. All the way, as a good note, uh, seventh and eighth at that event were Go Ichi and Sonic Fox. I think their rivalry started back then. But anyway, that's just me. So, with that being said, remember, there's a lot of shit that goes on before a major happens, months before. There's a lot of planning, a lot of negotiations, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of actual meetings, driving hours to go see someone, sit down and talk with them and do whatever and all this other bullshit. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of work that goes into these tournaments. You're planning for months ahead of time, getting negotiation on deal, getting contracting. Also, the very last thing too, Larry wouldn't let me talk to Shonda. A lot of you've heard me say this before. Like I said, I don't like to talk too much about their business, but if you're around from the SRK days, you know this. Shonda and Larry has had a problem conceiving for years, years, and he would always talk about it on SRK, right? And
I don't know if that's that.
David,
Yeah,
with this final round,
Yeah,
let's get this final round. I understand
I
the
would
very
chill with
hurt
that.
feelings on
bruh,
this point.
not I
Just
get it,
table that.
Yeah,
Table it.
yeah,
If you want to
yeah,
fam.
stay,
that's. You
All
got
right,
two people said David. Come on, like
get
that's a mess you
I
don't want
get
to
it.
make.
I'm not making a mess because I've talked about it already, and it's true. It's out there. It's documented. But I'll leave it
yes, I
alone.
know, but we don't have
I'll leave
to
it alone.
speak it at this point. Like
I'll
our
leave it
goal here
alone.
is to talk about final round,
I leave it
educate people
alone.
about
I
how tournaments
leave
can
it,
happen, how they
and
still need to maintain and happen even when things go way off the
bad.
rails.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Right? That was
Uh,
what you told me how we wanted to go about
all
this, right?
right, Jordan. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. All right. So a lot of things was happening in the final round. There was a lot of moving parts to consider. So, with that pretext, we roll into Friday night. Friday night, we come in, people are showing up, or Thursday night, I'm sorry. We all start showing up and all that shit. My room is occupied by someone that I wasn't aware that was going to be there. Me and Jordan, me and you were going to be rooming together. Is that correct, Jordan? Is that was the original plan?
Um, I believe so. I'm trying to remember who it was for
I
there.
remember.
I
I
don't remember
remember.
sleeping at all, so it didn't really
Right,
matter whose room
because
I had. So it was
right.
fine.
So it was me and Jordan's room, as we are the head TOs, and then um we are running into, like, Darren stayed with us, and then Darren allowed a guest to come in, and when that guest came in, they were less than filled with decorum, right? So now I don't have nowhere to sleep and all this other shit going on. Hey, Chris, we're gonna get through the story and then we'll let people in to speak. So just hang out for a bit. Um, so it starts. You know what happens first? The community is still complaining that the Japanese are all on one side of the bracket that I originally created, and we were done and ready. Now, a couple of the glitches that people don't understand with Start GG or Smash.gg at the time, if you moved a person or did some shit, sometimes your entire bracket would get redone. And by your entire bracket, I'm not talking about your little 16 man, whatever. The entire fucking pool bracket for the entire tournament got rearranged somehow. I think at one point to the tournament, we had lost everything and they had to go back and fucking copy the tournament and give it to us. Has to one of the reasons why I'm not so um what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not so sympathetic to some TOs when they run into issues like start.gg going down. Like, bruh, we had that to deal with too. And back then, start.gg or smash.gg or whatever, their lettering system wasn't good. So people who had long names, we couldn't even get all their names on it. We had to write their names in sometimes. You remember that, Jordan?
So just for everyone to understand and to level set here, when we first spoke with Smash.gg before they turned over and changed their branding to Start.gg, they were beginning. So obviously, with any new product or any new application, there's going to be various differences of how a user would use it. So what's designed and how a user actually really uses it is different. Um,
That's very kind of
reconnecting here.
you.
Hopefully, you guys can still hear me.
No, I can hear you fine.
Just being said, just like that, what David was talking about, the name field, when we would go print the brackets, just because we had the issue where the brackets got messed up because the way that it would filter, and when you would edit the bracket, especially with the large amount of influx that we had for late registration or same day registration, if you will, to add those into there and any other edits, it pretty much rearranged everything. And depending on what setting you had on there, by default, the original one was it would check to see what time and what schedule one player had versus another tournament. So when I say that, or David says that it messed up the brackets, he's not being sarcastic or over exaggerating. At the time when it first started, if you messed with something that a player like Justin Wong had, pool A, 10 a.m., and it got moved and you made an edit and suddenly put him at pool 2, but he had 3 other conflicts in other games, it would auto edit because it was made to be for smaller tournaments to kind of move those around. Now, you can imagine with everyone's talking about what all has happened or did happen, how those things can snowball for the most part. So this led to a lot of headaches, and probably after the tournament,
Can
me
I add
thinking
something to it
heavily
too?
uh,
Can
for
I add
that
this to
and
it
not
as
sleeping
well?
for most of it. But we had to talk to the
Jordan?
engineers. We had to roll back. I had to talk
Hello?
to their data engineers. We had to go
We
back
might not
and
be able
everything.
to hear you.
Oh, can you not hear me?
Can I hear you? Can you
Oh,
guys hear me?
Okay. So,
no, I can hear you.
okay.
Okay.
So, with that being said, it's like I just want to make sure everyone's aware of this. It's not that just decisions were made poorly, and it wasn't made because it was malice intent by any means. What Larry did was what Larry did. He did it what was right for the tournament at the time. The overall arching what Smash.gg could do for the tournament and make my life easier and make our lives easier in the long haul, absolutely, it was there. The It was not ready for that type of pure data at the moment, like that large of a tournament. And to be fair, with everything else, as you've heard, no one was ready for that. Even as much as everyone complains about what all happened, certain TOs complaining about that, and then running their own tournaments later, running into very similar problems because they didn't have the proper staffing or there were other problems that happened that just snowballed. And that's the thing that people have to understand is like when you're running a major tournament or a major event of any size, there's going to be variables that you can't account for, and they can pretty much get out of control. And you have to have a way of being able to make those stop gaps. So I don't know which way you want to go further into this, David, or which level for
No,
there.
no,
If you
no.
want me to
This
kind
is
of go
perfect.
more into
No,
the
no.
Smash.gg
The
and for there, but
Oh yes.
just late registration. I'm looking at my old documents here. I'm a pack rat for documents. So I have my original brackets here that we had created, the ones that we had to
Jordan,
redo.
can you hear me?
So
Jordan,
my
Jordan.
conversations
Hello?
back with the
Hello?
engineers where I stayed up that entire night.
David, you might have to reconnect again
Yeah,
because Jordan
okay.
can't hear you.
Okay. Well, then I'll reconnect. Maybe it's me.
Now, I was gonna say, now you keep. Well, yeah, just keep going while he reconnects, and then we'll
Okay.
see if that clears it up.
But needless to say, like Josh, I want everyone to understand, like from what people have said, that the perception is the big thing. Josh was looking at it. Josh has run tournaments. He's been tournament organizer for within final round for his own tournaments.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, just to add to that, right? Also, I remember very vividly that we were always like live in tournament and after registration was done was constantly communicating with Smash.gg, right? And sometimes they'd be responsive, sometimes they'd be not. Let's keep in mind too, just so you guys have a little bit of backstory. Like Larry was flown out with a couple other TOs to California to meet with these developers to make a deal about this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is one of those things where this is again an emerging market coming into the fighting game culture, something that is polished now. Something when I was talking my shit the other day about fucking HyperX and the gentrification of the TOs, this is what I'm talking about. We are the tournament that had to deal with the most bullshit as it pertains to this. Even Alex is sitting here now too. I remember Alex was like, "Bro, don't think that you're just gonna pick up Smash.gg and just work it like gangbusters. That's not what it is. You gotta really, you mean learn how to use that app." So, with that being said, one of the things that I also want to bring up is that you know what I mean there's technical difficulties, and then there's difficulties that's caused in operations, right? Um, like I remember also, Jordan, before I move on, that there when it came to signing up, when people were being added to the bracket, that caused a problem as well. Because we would add them and then lose where they were or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but I remember there was some issue manually adding people because they didn't register on time. We had to manually add them. And I think some of that information either had to go to smash.gg themselves and they did it and then updated you, or you had to do it. Remind me about that.
No, that was kind of twofold. So not putting Smash on blast on that or for everything else with the troubles that we had with the night before for say Thursday to Friday, and then we opening up the early or late registration, whichever way you want to call it, where we had to get up early, uh, going for there. After a while, seeing what needed to be added for each player, how to the order of operation that is needed to add them into the bracket, I had to make an executive call one way or the other. Either A, I can train the three people that are helping me take money, sign up for everyone's games, manage the line and everything else, and get everyone in there to try to start relatively on time after staying up completely all night, fixing the brackets, talking with engineers that are in California overnight, and of going talking to their data server side of like what we could roll back, what we could not, what copies of the files that I could get, going through everything, just everything from a technical standpoint. I made the executive decision that, hey, going back to what we originally had, and just making like either, I think I made an Excel sheet or something really quickly that everyone could use to capture the information, and then I would uh, manually input it into Smash, and it was just quicker because I was already fluent after having to mess with it, speaking with the engineers and talking with them about how to quickly upload and get everything there. So, with that being said, I know everyone complained about how the brackets were messed up, how we had released the brackets and the things were getting changed. We had to reach back out to everyone else for this. Let it be known that we were supposed to start at 2 p.m., if I remember correctly. It was like, it was either 12 or 2 p.m. We started an hour late on most games, just an hour. I think there was a few games that may have started a little bit later, mainly because they were smaller ones, so it was just easier to kind of make that small adjustment.
No,
Um,
that's good. That's good right there.
mhm.
That's good right there. Because here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Tekken ran a couple hours late, but that was because I had Eric, John, and Angela, so we knew we were gonna get done.
No, but no, I
Yeah.
wasn't worried about that. Like that's the thing too. Go ahead, Jordan. Say what you gotta say, and I'll talk
Oh
from
no,
an
no. I
operations
was just
end.
gonna say, like, just in general, that meant that, like, as we did that day that we started, we knew we were behind the eight ball. So Josh, John, me, like the other David,
Yep.
uh, when at certain points, like since I was running point and having to be the operational side, I knew that we were behind. And you guys have worked with me long enough to know that when I come to you guys and you're behind, how I ride your ass on it to be like, I needed this like 30 minutes ago. I need to update this for the website or whichever way for that. So the fact of that it was more on my side gave me great anxiety for one, but two, it made me have to sit there and plan out for when we got done with everything. How do we catch up on that time? Like, because we had finite amount. Because another caveat that no one really mentioned is, at a certain point, we kind of have to clear out the ballroom. We can't have people at certain points because we have to set up for the next day, change things around. There's a schedule that has to that preferred to be adhered to, because after a certain point, if you don't think people that are tired and want to go watch their friends play or play in a tournament want to stay late for something else when all their friends are going out to eat, playing in the arcade for casual games, it's kind of hard to keep everybody's attention and motivation to do that. So planning and getting for there. So as much as everyone complains about that final round and about all the hardship, I look at it as a different perspective of like the team, the very small team that we had, that we turned it around and took everything that was thrown at us, no matter which curveball it was. We owned it. We dealt with what we could, and we made it the best that we could. Was it the best one ever? Obviously not. Was it one that finished on time? Was it one that everyone remembers? Was it ones that people come up to me to this day and flat out will be like, I would never forget your face after you got this X, Y, and Z done. And then these brackets got to you on Sunday. Those things. So to everyone that's ever volunteered for me or anything else and that went through that, I greatly thank you. I mean, hell, we're talking about it even to this day, and
Right.
it's still being talked about in 2023, of everything that we could talk about. And the reason why we're talking about it is to kind of set the expectations of what CEO is going to be the first one for Street Fighter 6, or Street Fighter 6 is upcoming. So like a new tournament is going to be coming up soon for
Right.
that. It's going to be the first for that. So it's going to be, someone is going to have the first tournament of this. And they're going to have these similar problems. Maybe not the main ones, maybe only some small ones, but they're going to have them. And they need to know, for those tournament organizers and those volunteers, to know that it's okay. You just have to work through it. For the players, they just have to be patient. I know that's not something that the FGC is known for, patience by any means, but it's just the truth of the statement. So,
Okay.
anyway, David, I'll let you
No,
go to the
no,
next
no.
segment.
That's good because I want to bring up some other stuff real quick too, right? What you guys need to understand as well. Remember about the loss I told you about. There's a lot of pressure on me too. Like so, T Bear dies. Larry holds up the tournament for another hour on that Friday for the tournament to get his presentation done. Now I don't wrong him, right? Because this is a dude that ever since I've been going to final round since 2007, where I'm there, I see this dude. This is like one of Larry's partners. Larry would have like up to like 3 to 5 dudes that would always come to final round, and they would never play a game. They would never touch a video game, bro. All they were there to do was support Larry, and T Bear was one of them. And that fool died like that week or the week before final round. So this is another final round where Larry's dealing with death of someone that was close to him. Like I'm there, let Jordan. One of the reasons I had Jordan here is because I need you to understand not only the technical aspect of what we were going through, but the emotional and mental torment of what we were going through from before the tournament, during the tournament, and after. So when I tell you, when my friend Alex J. Bailey writes what he writes and fucking hands out flyers, Alex J. Bailey is also a person that tried to hire Jordan and fucking Kaya back when we didn't do that shit. Now we do it and it's free and it's different. But back in the day when that shit didn't happen, he's so for him to do that, you need to understand how that fucking feels. And I'm the fool that made him shake hands with Larry. I have to carry that.
Well, all right. So let's be real here, and let's be your therapist here. You shouldn't be responsible for another man's actions or
Mm.
another person's. You can't control. You can only control the controllables. You can make your choices and what you can do with the information you have. So you thought it was a good fit. I mean, we thought it was a good fit. Everyone thought it was there. I mean, I thought of certain things that I was trying to do to fix Smash.gg that night for Friday that was going to fix that. And then lo and behold, I had to call the engineers to roll back some things. You do what you do with the information you have.
At the time,
So
I get it. I get it.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So
Thank you.
don't hold it.
I know.
Yeah.
I won't. Like I said, Jordan, David L, Josh, John. I think that was the first final round I met John because Josh was late. And I had to pull John out of the line. I'm like, hey dog, what you doing in the line? Come here, partner. I need you to go to work. I think I think that was the year. Because we were fucking running around. And John was in I think that year you came up, you were dressed in like a Muay Thai fucking uniform, weren't you? Because I think that's how I found you in line. Because Josh was like, yo, he's wearing some type of Muay Thai shit. Just walk up to him and say, John, he'll know what's up. And then, bro, Josh made a phone call, bro, and you went to work. Literally. And I fucking, that's why we're still cool to this. I remember that specifically. Joshua made a phone call. I walked up to you and you went and handled shit. And for that, you, fuck. With all the shit that I was going through that day, bro, everybody that was able to do shit so that I didn't have to worry was my fucking hero. And what you
Oh,
need to
was that the
understand,
costume? Was that when they had the
yeah,
costume contest?
yeah, bro, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
fam.
I had my Armor King cosplay on. Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Like Grape and his
Yeah, that was the year I
girlfriend,
just started
Ben and Malik,
my job in cybersecurity
like
too.
those dudes, bro. Ben and Malik were anime. As a matter of fact, I remember, like, I think, what's his name? Dogra won some stick, and they had to get his information and mail the stick to him because he couldn't get it while he was there or some shit. They
Yeah,
were
because they
doing a,
couldn't get one of the customs. Yeah.
you understand what
That
I'm
was
saying?
also
There
the
was,
same year that the razor sticks failed on, you know, for
wow.
Fuda and yeah,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wasn't
Mm-hmm.
But
Brawlhalla Brawlhalla was here that year too because I remember Goichi being there. Goichi was winning what we called poverty games, which like all the anime games. Goichi and Dogura were just dog walking these fools. And fucking Brawlhalla, I think he played in, and he played in fucking Street Fighter Five to get top 8. You understand what I'm saying? And like we were we were dealing with so much. That shit was funny. Chris T came to me, and Chris T talked about that shit on Valle stream. Chris T came to me. His partner just got killed, bro, and he was trying to stay focused and be in the game. But like, how the fuck do you stay focused and deal with it? And I'm dealing with that. I'm literally in the middle of the fucking ballroom crying. I remember Valle was here that year, bro, and we were chilling with Valle because Valle was going to be on a team tournament. This shit was lit, but it was you imagine me carrying around all that weight, the pressure of running the event understaffed, running it from one room because I was the only person Capcom wanted to run their event at Final Round. So if I tried to go do anything else, I was like, nah, bro, I need you at Capcom. So I literally had to run the entire event from that main room. So with that being said, team tournament happens. We go on Chris T. Um, we didn't have microphones or bullhorns. Did y'all have them in the second room, Josh?
I think I was the only one who thought ahead and bought one, but
No, no,
I
John.
ended up
We
being
had them. We had an
Really?
entire case of them. We had no batteries, but we had Darren.
Oh, I had mine. Well, I brought mine and I had a battery because again I thought ahead.
There
But
were
I ended
some.
up being able to be louder than the bullhorn, so I just let other people use
You understand what I'm saying? Where's we had someone for eventualities like that, right? Because when I created the org chart, I there were certain jobs that were assigned, and there was assigned to a person on staff that was at times hard to find, and always when we needed him, always when we needed him. But you know what I mean? Like this is something too that I told Larry. We had
I
systems
want
that
to say one thing that you guys
yeah.
kind of glossed over very
What's
quickly,
that? Go
if
ahead.
I may.
Hmm.
Can you hear me? Did David just drop?
No, I hear you.
it. Can can you not hear David again?
Yeah, let me just drop.
Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Uh,
For some reason, it just seems to be you and Jordan. Your
yeah,
connection.
yeah, John Jordan. Jordan is my piece right now to prevent me from losing my shit because I need you guys that
Okay,
are listening. Like I can hear you now, Jordan. People need to understand, like, bro, I was it. I was the one running the event. Larry was running around building his brand and kissing babies. It was me. So sometimes, and I mean this with all due respect, tournaments don't always go as you plan. They're not always going to be great. They're not always going to be excellent, right? Because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with the universe, to say the least. Wires are going to go bad. Cables are going to go bad. Kizzy K knocked the fucking PS4 off of the table and it hit the floor. Like a lot of shit happened that year.
Bro, I
A,
remember that.
a lot of shit happened that year. A lot of shit happened that year. It was on me. We had people that weren't answering to their names because their names weren't fully put out on the fucking thing. So we put their government names out there. We call people's government names. And they were like, bro, why didn't you call my fighter name? And we were like, I'm sorry, what? He's,
It's like
bro,
when you put it on the Smash GG, it was messed up because apparently you didn't know how to fill it out. So I called what I saw on the thing.
right. This is the shit that your mom named you. And the dude was like, bro, why'd you call me? I didn't hear. We were calling your regular name. He's like, I was listening for X. And I was like, you know what? All right. Praise God, bro. You got it. Like, you know what I mean? It's shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm running, remember, 3 to 5,000 people are there. The fucking fire marshal is there. The fire marshal is there more than one day watching us, looking and itching to fucking shut down the event. The fire marshal would come all the time. You understand what I'm saying? Some of our systems weren't patched and shit like that, right?
Oh my god!
And then we had people were using their fucking phones, their data on their phones to patch systems, bro.
I was one of them.
So was Anthony. There was a lot of shit on the operations side that, bro. You remember, I'm coming in from Cali. I'm assuming this shit is done, and like I said, I mentioned earlier what nobody wanted me to talk about. Larry was going through a lot. The death of a friend and other personal familial issues. We did the best that we could with what we had with the time that we had, and then we had an influx of players come in. So no, we didn't have any more space to use. No, we didn't have any more systems. So that's why some of our pools started at 8 p.m. We didn't plan for that shit. We planned to have a regular tournament. We had already been closing final round on Sunday by 10 p.m. the latest. But something happened and we still finished at 8 p.m. We still finished at 8, understaffed. Um, I'll just tell you this too, right? A couple of things happened after the tournament. Fucking Larry went to the On Blast show. He went to the On Blast show and didn't say anything. You understand what I'm saying? We had we had a worker there that was so bad. He took how badly final round ran so to the chest that he was considering suicide, bro. I had to hear that over some shit that I was managing. And I know Jordan, you're gonna tell me not to carry that, but like, bro, when you're in a leadership position, you gotta hold that shit, bro. That shit is lonely at the top, fool.
I remember how upset you were when I told you like 2 weeks later that I had to go to the ER the week following the event because from dehydration, exhaustion,
Right.
like they had to hook me up to like two different IV bags.
Listen, man, people don't understand. I care about myself. I care about final round. I cared about everything about that tournament. And my friend wrote an op-ed, passed out his flyers, and bounced. I was so disgusted I had to leave. I think it was, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said in his fucking op-ed.
Then lied about it. Don't forget he lied about passing out the flyers. And then I
Right,
posted the screenshot of the flyer that he handed us, and I was like, "Oh,
right. Lied about which flyer, bro. You understand what I'm saying? But again, I am not going to sit here and not ignore if 500 people showed up for the first time and saw that final round. Holy shit, I'm sorry about your experience. People were Malik. One of the reasons Malik quit was that he invited one of his homies, his anime homies from New York, to play, and we double DQ'd him because Jordan. Now this is where you need to jump back in because we were going throughout the entire tournament that week, not DQing anybody because of Smash GG, and usually Josh and John and me can attest we DQ people like crazy, but we couldn't do it that weekend.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't let you guys DQ. I mean, I told you
that's why I
guys
was
to go
malnourished,
through.
malnourished, Jordan. That's why they gave me
Yeah,
the IV bags. I feed on
yeah,
DQs."
on DQs. Which, to be fair, let's be real here. Like, we don't go DQ crazy. The rule is that if they're
Legit.
DQ'd for whatever reason, they're marked on the sheet and they're marked on the bracket that comes back to me to find out for there. So,
We
but
just
for
make
that
sport of
year, yeah, which we give them all the chances they can. Obviously, for this tournament, because of things outside of their control as well as ours on a lot of things, we didn't feel it was right to DQ them. I mean, as much as it caused more strife for me and more work, being able to fix and figure out what's the best way to make sure that that person has a good experience and be able to enjoy as much as they can while still being able to finish out the tournament because we had contractual obligations for
Right.
things. And that's the big thing is like just making sure of like that Josh mentioned and that David just kind of just walked over played at the very beginning since Josh loves callbacks is that it's about the experience because as the tournament goes, more and more players are going to be watching and then participating in other ways. So everything about it, if you are a new TO or starting a small or a large tournament, is you look at the experience, the holistic experience. Yes, you get your major players that are going to be there. They're going to be in the top 8. Have a pretty good idea for that. They're going to be bringing people in, but every single one of them pays the same amount of money. So when they pay that entry fee, whenever they've registered or so forth, so whether it's a Justin Wong or a Jordan that comes in at the last minute and pays whatever amount, they're paying for the same experience. They're looking for that experience, wanting to play, being able to become part of that community and to be able to see their friends. So that's why I tried to say it earlier, but we got disconnected and everything. That Frosty's being said that it was like a final round or felt like final round of the North. I take that with a very big sense of pride because if I remember correctly, you said that was a Tekken player that said that. And Atlanta
Right.
is a very huge Tekken community. So for anyone to say that about a uh, community-based tournament from something that was what was considered the heart or the home of Tekken, more of Atlanta area. That says a lot about someone's tournament. about how people felt about the overall experience, not just the game and how well it was run, but the overall feel of it. So, all right, I'll
Right.
get off my rant here.
You're fine because too, right? Like, you got to think about it, right? I hope you guys have been taking notes, but other pressures on me, like on Sunday, developers pay money to get their tournaments up, especially when you're a major event, right? Now TOs are doing, theme tournaments and also letting the number of entrants based it. But back then on Sunday, developers would try to fucking pay extra. There's pressure already on this man's pocket, life issues, and Larry is telling the staff that, yo, I might not be able to pay. Like, I got to tell my people that, which I know are going to have a hell of a weekend, that you may not get paid properly for the event, because there was a real, also financial cost to this shit, right? You know what I mean? Like, everybody, I lost my shit, bro. I won't lie to you. I remember this shit quite vividly. It was like tearing off one of my arms writing up my fucking resignation letter, bro. This shit wasn't easy. You know what I mean? But like, we had we had all these issues to deal with, really and truly. And at the end of the event, Larry doesn't thank the workers. He thanks the volunteers, the developers. No, he doesn't thank the volunteers. He thanks the people that showed up and the developers and all this shit. And Jordan, I asked you because you were in the room. I asked you. I was like, did he thank everyone? And you're the one that told me no. And that's when I started to break down and cry. That's when I broke down and cried. We had people working the final round 12 to 16-hour shifts that didn't eat.
So, so just being clear on here, just to make sure, because the way that everything is painted in this frame at this moment. After this final round, I know, David, you had retired and resigned and everything like this. The sheer difference of how things were done, of the fail safes that were put into place to make sure this would not happen again, were dramatic and night and day. So those that remember going to the next final round after that was just everyone coming up and saying how much we had improved, not just from improving from, hey, what a cluster it was from that one year. Like, hey, I'm glad you guys are back. But an honest improvement, like the best final round they've ever been to, how much they really enjoyed it, how other tournaments could really learn from this the way that we did certain things, because we took that strife and that pain that everyone took, and took the feedback that you gave, David. So don't think of all that we've done or did or anything like that didn't come with some type of reward in the end. It may have just taken a little bit longer, but it
You're
was a
so
painful
nice right
time.
now.
But
Yeah, you're so
no, I'm
nice, man.
not
Like,
being just nice. I'm being honest about it. I mean,
Being
there's a
honest.
lot of things that shit sucked. Like, trust me, like a lot of people don't understand how stressful running a tournament, especially doing a lot of things that I do, because I make it try to be as easy as possible for other people. So that way they don't see the craziness behind there. I like to think of at certain points, I'm the guy in the Wizard of Oz. It's like no real
Well, Jordan,
power.
you also has to think of the
Oh, jeez.
magnitude of the tournament, because I mean, people have run tournaments, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That,
I
that
mean,
that that's a lot of people.
bro,
yeah.
don't get me started into the social media aspect where we were supposed to have a bunch of Kindles and tweeting because we wanted to plan our social media um, campaign for final round that year. And again, no one showed up. So we had more Kindles than we had people. And our social media manager was not who I would have chosen to be our social media manager. And we
So
had Lay Lamb on staff, bro. We had Lee.
no,
Anyway,
I know, because he had just had was it his injury or did he have the surgery? and he was going for there. But there were a lot of things that we had planned on doing that we basically had to. I mean, I'm sure plenty of people watch The Flash. We're like basically, you know, you make a plan, you stick to the plan goes awry, you throw the plan away, and you go. That's literally what happened. We had stuff that we had planned out, things that were going to make things easier for us, like the social media thing, doing the Kindles to be able to even use that and integrate it with Smash.gg. So people, I could give web access to certain ones, and they could run their tournament, give their updates from there on the Wi-Fi there at the hotel, and I wouldn't have to go run and then input everything into there. There and a pure logical sense, if everything worked out the way it would have we wanted it to, it would have been amazing. It would have been like how Final Run was afterwards. But there were just so many things that kind of just snowballed on there that some things had to be cut. That was one of them because I remember having that conversation with Larry and Shonda and everything and going like, all right, what do we need to do to get this going? What do we need to catch up with things? What can we cut from this to be able to just get us back on track? Because as you mentioned, the contracts, the players getting restless, people wanting to know updates. I mean, we've already mentioned that gamers and just the FGC is not very patient in a lot of things. Now imagine them paying money, flying and being on a plane for like 6 hours or in a car, and then ready to play their match that they've studied up and everything else. And then we tell them it's like, hold off, you're going to have to wait another hour or two.
Right.
It's
Right.
just the amount of unfriendliness and me having to give that bad news to certain people is was not fun, but it had to be done.
Right.
So
And I want to add something to it. I'm glad because I want to know. I want y'all to know, man. I'm talking about this place, although it brings up bad memories. I'm still speaking from a place of joy. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't never been to a tournament yet that has the vibrations of Final Round. I haven't. Maybe I've seen the one in the DR, and like I said, Frosty Frostings was really dope. But that shit that Final Round got, that magic, I don't know what it is, but it's something different. You get what I'm saying? Um the and I hope you guys have some questions ready because we're prepared to answer them for you. Chris, you can come back in the rotation now. We can talk about that shit. Whatever it is that you wanted to ask me. Hey Josh, could you put Chris's mic on?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Uh
get them set up
all
real
right.
quick before we transition to getting listener feedback and such. Jordan had started to mention something, and I know David, you and John have both heard me tell this story, and I'm sure there's folks listening that might remember this. But Jordan, what you were reminding me reminds me of something else that it really spoke to me in the way of how to do things. And I think you'll enjoy this. I was watching Reggie Watts do stand up, or it was one of his one man shows. I guess you can call it like stand up and a musical performance. Dude's wild talented. But he started sharing about how he was at I think he was in a record shop in San Francisco or New York. It was in a major metropolitan area. I think it might have been San Francisco, but he was in this music store and speaking to the owner. The owner had mentioned, hey, when the store closes, you know, why don't you come over? You know, we'll go upstairs. I got this crazy sound system to show you. You know, we'll smoke and then I'll play this for you. And so he's like, okay. You know, Reggie Watts says he's like he likes cannabis, he likes music, so he says he's in. So they close the store. They go upstairs to the guy's apartment with a few other people, and he's going through all this detail about like breaking down every little piece and part of this sound system. This is made with brass to help that, and it's done a specific way to carry sound better. This speaker, blah blah blah, does this and that. All the specs. Gives them the full rundown, and takes a jazz record from the late '40s and puts it on and just lets it play. And the quality of the sound was incredible. It felt like they were in the room, uh, hearing the record being recorded, according to Reggie. And he said the people started crying because of like just how their audiophiles who just If it hits right, it hits right. So he had an epiphany though in that moment. It wasn't so much, the knowledge of the parts, and it wasn't the fact that it was just this expensive sound system. It was providing an experience while being unseen. And that's what we've kind of always had to do is you provide experiences for folks and you remain unseen. And that's how it becomes their memories, their experiences. And there's something about that. I don't know about you, it feels good. It makes me feel funny. I like it.
Let me say this one thing too before Chris answers his questions. And Josh, you are at a different stage than I am, and you're far more humble. And I think that you are, this person that cares about the kids, and I love them. You know that, but I've had to harden my love towards them now because there's still tos out there talking to you and me like they've ever run a ballroom with 5,000 people running around. And I'm not shitting on anyone's experience. I'm not telling you that you're not as good as or whatever the case may be. I'm never going to say that shit to you. I'm never going to discredit your lived experience as a TO. That's why I started this podcast. But some of you guys really and truly need to watch your tongue when you speak to people that have way more experience than you and have handled a lot more bullshit than you've handled. The people that were blazing the path and walking that narrow path and could have fell off the cliff are the people's footsteps who you're walking in. And I believe in causality a lot. And when I say that you're standing on the shoulders of giants, I mean it. You're standing on the shoulders of people that had to suffer through shit and figure shit out. Yo, fucking Josh and John, and especially Jordan, was doing fucking trigonometry. They were all Captain America. They were running and doing trig in their head and throwing the shield, bro, while dealing with people coming up to ask them ridiculous questions from where's the bathroom or where's my tournament located to I lost my keys. Oh, my mom is bro, the shit that you deal with when you're a TO.
And to be fair, David, we also stood on the shoulders of
Right.
giants as well.
Right. Lee,
I mean,
Larry, Scott, all them dudes, bro. I'm
Kaya,
not
I mean,
Kai,
like,
don't let me get started. Bro, I start crying
yeah,
if you talk about Kaya, bro. Stop, bro. Come on, man.
it's I know, but it's just all a matter of perception, and that's the whole thing. Is like, just be mindful of your perception and the other person's perception, and it will make things a lot better. You can't control their perception of it, but you can understand where they see the world. And sometimes it's not worth the energy to argue.
Oh yeah, it
Sometimes it's
isn't,
better
but
just to say,
I
yeah,
keep on forgetting
keep it in mind.
because when I look down and see his face, I remember. Remember, through all of that, we were also training people. Two of them are in here right now. Fucking Aaron is in here. Aaron runs his own tournaments in Atlanta now. You understand what I'm saying? Even keeping Street Fighter 4 alive. During
Oh
all
yeah.
that bullshit, we were still training people.
Well, you when you do something with passion and with love, no matter how good, bad, or mediocre it is, others will find that same passion and continue on. Like they may do better than you, may they do the same as you. It's just always paying it forward and doing what you
Dog,
like.
I love to see when a TO that came out of final round blow up and do some wild shit. Because now I want to be like, yo, I'm coming to your shit. You understand what I'm saying? And like, I love to see it, bro. I love to see it. I watch Aaron do so much Street Fighter 4 that he plays at a tournament outside his shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching Aaron. I'm paying attention, partner. I promise you. So like, it's just like it's dope to me. But like with that, Chris, go ahead and ask us anything, man, and then we'll chop it up and talk with you guys for a little bit before we close. Just unmute yourself, Chris. I sometimes forget to unmute myself.
Oh, my fault. I'm over here playing Tekken now. You took too long.
Mm.
I got niggas over here playing now. I'll go. I had
Well,
I had some.
why
Don't fucking move. Leroy, black man,
God damn it.
black man.
Well, since he's playing Tekken, and I see that
Yeah,
Beefin
my fault.
actually in the
Go ahead. I'm
chat,
listening. I'm
I
still
wanted
No,
to
listening.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
say,
no.
hey,
Go
I
ahead.
missed talking to him.
Yeah, Chris is stupid. Anyway, Chris, go ahead and ask your question, partner. What you want to know? Oh, he's gone now. If anybody else wanted a question, jump on the mic. Dwayne, you got in. What's up, man? What do you want to talk about?
Yo, salute. Um, man, where to begin? First off, thank you for allowing me to have the mic time, and shout outs to every single one of you that's watching or listening, excuse me. Um, so happy to be here. I just want to say, Frosty's was fire, man. Great tournament, great tournament, great tournament, great tournament. And I think the whole theme for me throughout that weekend is efficiency. I mean, I walked into the hotel, me and a few people from New York. Uh, it was like, wow, it looks really cool. Got booth right outside, right up the front, all the way down to the back to the badge area. Uh, everybody was so friendly as far as staff. Some of them are from New York, so but they did a great job. Shout out to Steven, KPV, Rage. Shout out to Aru. Shout out to all the TOs out there, man. They did a phenomenal job. I interviewed one of them. He was interviewing and TOing at the same time. This shit is fire, man. New shit coming real soon. You already know the vibes. Yeah. So, one thing that really impressed me, to be honest, was I actually never seen a tournament. I mean, as far as electronic payment goes, winners, the all top places got paid literally on the same weekend. Some are on the same day. I was like, oh shit. No, 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 no. I'm not even capping. I'm not, yo, I'm not fucking
You
around.
know,
I'm not fucking around. I'm not
you
fucking
know
around.
why we're laughing. So stop it. You know why we're
Fine,
laughing.
that's fine. But no, that's fine. But my point is, I've never seen a tournament of that large of a scale done that before. Ever. That is the first time. I'm talking about like straight up. Literally, like it felt like frame one. I was sitting next to somebody who won a tournament, right? And his phone alert came and it showed that he got PayPal this amount of money. I was like, damn, bro, they paid the same day. I was like, oh, that's cool, right?
Yo, this is
No,
the
no,
man
no,
that was
Hey,
telling
no,
me
no,
Leroy,
no.
to
I'm
behave the
listen.
whole
I'm not.
tournament.
I'm
you
saying,
fucked that nigga.
bro.
Like no, we're
I'm
You
not.
not
fucked
trying
that
to be
nigga.
Yeah,
slick.
no,
I'm
no,
really
not.
not, bro. I'm not. I'm
I'm trying
really
to be
not.
funny.
That's not my
It's
concern.
funny. It's just
I'm just.
yeah. Like we're not saying it's funny. It's just going for so long where that wasn't the normal thing. It's just funny looking back. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
right,
Like I
like
right.
was,
it's
I was really like amazed. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna cap on this. I was really amazed on how fast he got paid. Like he
Right.
won the tournament like 2, 3 hours ago that day. I was like, damn,
And, and that's what I was talking about with the staffing level. You understand what I'm saying? You got Raina there, Elvin Shadow, Mike, I think the guy's name was.
that's the lead here.
He was,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the lead one, right? He was moving around doing the thing. Like it was really cool watching them work and seeing them the synergy and how everything worked together. They had security there. They had two sides of the hotel that they were using. So every time you walk from one side to the other, you had to go through security. If you had a bag on you, they checked it every time. Like that's important. You guys need to know that. And remember, they were open 24 hours. So that means that there was a security guard walking around ballrooms and checking bags for 24 hours.
that's a fact. And
You know
mind
what I
you,
mean?
those are
Like,
independent security.
right.
They
They
were on
hired
contract.
outside
Yeah,
security.
they were on
Yeah.
contract.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that shit was dope, man. When I tell you that it was dope, it was dope. And like, you know what I mean? Like I get it. Like, bro, like, and that's the thing too. Like, let's bring up Final Round again because Final Round was one of the first tournaments that was like, bro, if you want to bring a bag with your shit, put it in a clear bag. We have issues with people shooting in the South.
yo, you know how much flack we got for that?
Bro, y'all were cussing like crazy, but like keep in mind, like that was something that we had to deal with. You know what I mean? And that this is after my time, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm sorry that we wanted you to be safe without having to go through your personal shit. Just kind of make it visible that you ain't carrying nothing on you. And that was
Anything new is scary or inconvenient, but the same way it also brings for that, just like new, I mean, getting paid the same day for winning a tournament. That's something new, but it's something good. I mean,
All,
right.
all I'm saying,
having security guards and everything else is a bit of a convenience and getting something to get used to, but it makes the tournament safer and better and brings in more of a
facts,
family crowd. Sorry,
facts.
go ahead.
No, no, you good, man. All I'm saying was like that they were on it 100% throughout the entire tournament. And as crazy as it sounds, it was a 2 day tournament with like 20 plus games. That is
Bruh, there
a
were so many games that there were so many games there. There were so many games there that were being ran. And like I'm glad you're bringing this stuff up too, Doy. Like I said, that there's a separate one I have because I have a bunch of pictures. And if you're gonna talk about shit, I went to Galloping Ghost Arcade. Oh my god, that
I
place,
wanted to go, man.
bro. Oh my god, I got to go like for an hour and a half before I had to leave Illinois. When I tell you Galloping Ghost Arcade, I was walking around. I took 30 minutes of video just walking up and down the aisle, not playing anything, just looking at games, remembering old games that they have a SNK fighting game alley roll. They got a Capcom alley roll. They got the shooters game. They got Captain Commando, the fucking beat 'em up. They got the Ninja Turtles. They got Jet Burner or whatever that fucking flying game was. They have all the car games. They have off road. They have off road. They have when I tell you they have everything, they have everything, every game that you could have possibly had an emotional tie to, even the most obscure games were there. They had Ninja Gaiden there, John, the original one on arcade.
Nice.
Like this shit is it is crazy how that alone is another draw. And then they had this vendor there, this guy that sold popcorn. The one everybody who's been to
Yo,
comic book break there
Barons,
every day
yeah,
knows
yo, that shit is
bro,
fire,
that
bro. That
fucking
I
popcorn.
feel myself
Like you
eating
know
that
how
shit for the first time. I was like, yo, how did I miss out on this, bro?
Um, so like think about like the fucking popcorn and like people were buying $300 bags of popcorn.
What?
Like
Yo, hold on. Yeah,
dog,
yeah. So
dog.
somebody from here is actually gonna bring it tomorrow at next level. He paid
Bro,
$800 worth of popcorn and brought it back.
800.
yeah, but they buy it to sell it though. They buy it to sell it back because it's a joke. It's like
800.
yo,
Yo,
listen
they
to
about to
me when
have a
I tell you,
StockX. They about to have StockX.
bro, bro,
Bro.
John, try to understand,
What?
like the staff that was there, right? Remember, I was chopping it up with him for a minute. Bro, the staff that was there was like, fuck that guy. I was like, why? What happened? Why you got so salty all of a sudden? She's like, I gotta work. And by the time I get off, he gonna be sold out. John, the man bring like 20 yards worth of fucking popcorn. You understand me? There's yards of popcorn. And he sells out
So many
before
flavors,
somebody
man.
working right, before somebody working a 2-day event can get to buy some. Frosty Frosting should change
$800
the
though?
bro, John, and the man sell out. Sell out. You hear me?
Good, good night.
Bro, this shit was it was crazy.
Praise
It
Hey,
God
was
in
yo,
heaven.
New York is full of New York. That's one thing I noticed, man. New York is straight full of hustlers, bro.
Oh,
That's that. You know, shout out to
yeah,
Baron though.
for sure.
Shout out to those guys, man. They did a phenomenal job. They held it down. I had seen they have not like they have not lose. Well, from what I saw, they didn't lose any composure. They was on it, man. Like I said, the theme here is efficiency, man. Like
Mhm.
shout out to all the vendors too, man. They all did their thing. Them fighting herds. Shout out to Sasha, man. He held it down. Um, you know, I'm proud of him getting gigs like that. Yo, all I'm saying, dude.
Even Tong, like
Yeah.
Tong too, bro. Like big
Oh
up Tong,
man.
bro. Florida
I
boys,
haven't
yo.
seen yo.
Tom
Listen,
was there.
I haven't seen Tony in
Yo,
so long, bro. It was good seeing him, man. We chopped it up for a bit. Of Jabali too, man. You know, I haven't seen him for a bit. Shout out to Jabali. Chopped it up for a bit. Like it just felt like a little bit of a reunion because I haven't been to a major
yeah.
since pre-COVID, right?
That's the thing. It felt like a reunion. It had that reunion feel to it that I was trying to tell y'all about, like that cookout feel,
Right.
but in the
So
north and in the cold. That was which was bullshit. By the way, if you go to Frosty Faustings, listen to me. Listen to me, and Dwayne, give me a second. Let me get this out. If you go to Frosty Faustings, do not buy any cold weather clothes in your city if you live south of the Mason Dixon. If you live north of the Mason Dixon, buy whatever the fuck you want to buy, right? Because you're gonna. But if you buy your clothes like from Cali and wear it over there, and you're not wearing like a snow jacket, bro, you're about to lose that fight. I'm telling you right now. You're, bruh. Buy your shit from Chicago
Yo,
when you get there.
you went over there with California cold weather clothes?
Bro, I thought I was doing something, John. But
Man,
that
David,
you
holy
were
shit.
I'm
you
from
were
South
under-equipped.
Carolina, and I have a trip going to Boston next month, and I have actual real clothes. Like, come on,
You
man,
know what?
Like
come
Listen,
on.
this,
listen,
like
listen,
Final
listen.
Fantasy. You went in
I
there
lived in
with
Boston.
the
Listen.
onion dagger, the onion boots, the the rusted helmet, and
Bruh,
the
bruh.
and the
Wondering,
old door for a shield.
wondering why I'm cold. Wondering why I'm cold. Wondering why I'm cold, bro. That shit was crazy. All I'm telling you is that like the fucking tournament was so goddamn dope. And it wasn't just the event itself, it was the people. And I met their leadership, and attitude reflects leadership. That dude is a great bro. He even played a prank on us when me and Dwayne were hanging outside. I won't give you the details, but like Buddy came and he came around. He's like, "What y'all doing out here? You're not supposed to be out here." I was like, "All right, I'll let y'all hang out here if you let me hang out with you." I was like, "Oh
oh
shit!"
wait, hold on. So a
Like,
little more context, right? I'm gonna be PC, right? You know, it's not my
yeah,
shit. I ain't trying to get
yeah,
nobody blown up. But
right.
if you're familiar with this particular game called Blades Green, right? We were playing that outside.
Mhm. You can play that anywhere.
Shout out to Elvin Shadow.
Just about.
Yeah, he straight up came. He's like, "Hey, you guys are playing Blaze Green." We was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, you can't play Blaze Green outside around the venue, unfortunately. However, if you let me get next, then maybe I can, let it slide for a bit."
Yeah, we got to update the patch.
Bro, he had to update the patch. He
Yeah,
had to update the
yeah,
patch for the fucking cipher.
yeah,
So like, you know what I mean? And then after that, the shit was dope. And bro, he had us fucking dying, bro. And I'm so glad that I got to meet him because that shit was dope as fuck. I'm telling you. That's all I got. That's all I got. Dwayne, go ahead.
yeah. So to cap it off, man. Yeah, shout outs to everybody, man. But more biggest shout outs to Temp. Actually, shout outs to the entire New York Strive community. Man, they showed out. They showed out throughout the entire weekend, man. Like Strive, that was one of the most intense tournaments I've ever seen. And the greatest thing of all is not that the fact that Tempest won. Shout out to Tempest, by the way. Proud of him. But it's the fact that I saw like crazy sportsmanship. Like there was really no drama. It was just like, yo, good stuff. People cheering for their people, right? And they show respect to one another. It's just like, wow, man. Like I've personally never seen that, like to that extent. So, um, yeah, but shout out to everybody out there, man. It was really cool seeing everybody again, and it was also cool seeing people for the first time. Um, that's a great way to start 2023, man. Because as I said, I mean, actions speak louder. That's all I really got to say, and that's all, man. Shout out to all you guys tuning in, man.
No problem. Appreciate
You
it.
know,
Thanks,
much
D.
love.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, this is one quick plug. Listen, man, I don't know if you guys follow the Fresh Bread community, man, but we got something special for you guys this summer. For
Tag
those,
us. Tag it. Tag it. Tag it. Tag it. Tag it.
yeah,
Tag it. Tag
yeah.
it so we
Well,
can
I can't
retweet it.
really. All right, hold on. Fuck. All right, hold on. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Fuck it. I'm
All
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in a slick way. Hold up, cause I'm got like.
right.
Hold
All
up. Let me see. Media. Okay. What is it that I did? All right, here we go. So got the little call out already. There you go. Shared it.
All
Perfect.
right,
So,
appreciate
man,
it.
if you guys know who that is, by the way, speaking of TL, shout out to Shinobi. That's the guy that runs
Hmm.
Climax of Night.
He's a former Final Round staff. He was the one that did all our anime tournaments.
Shout
So
out
we all know
once again.
Shinobi. We know Ben.
And once again, shout outs to yo. Listen, one thing about Final Round, and as I said, whatever have but those between two of those parties, I talked to them personally on my, gave them my opinion, and but that's something them they only those two have to figure out. I hope they at the end of the day, squash it and stuff, but that's up to them. So, but either way, like I said, I respect both of them. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so all right,
No,
so
that's it. We're gonna get Psycho Blue in. We're
yeah,
gonna get Psycho
yeah,
Blue
man.
into it. I
Shout out to
appreciate that.
everybody, man. I'm out. I'm gonna catch y'all later, man.
All right,
Peace.
all right, peace. Psycho Blue, go
Can you
ahead.
guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. I can hear you fine. You know how Twitter Spaces be doing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
good.
but yeah, go ahead.
Understood. I just want to comment on what you mentioned about the leadership role and all that entails and how we need to recognize each other about that. Um, but before I get into that, because it is kind of a story I kind of relate to, not so much regarding that particular final round. By the way, I was there, and while it was busy, I could look around and understand exactly why. So I don't hold that against any of you guys. So
I
I
appreciate
would
that, dog.
definitely not,
Appreciate that.
because you can just look around and say, okay, this is clearly not what you because up to that point, like the last few years, because Final Round got me my first commentary spot in Final Round 17, which I am again eternally grateful for. I could tell this was not the usual Final Round traffic as a patron,
Right.
and I was sympathetic with you guys. I said, okay, this was not in the cards, so I didn't realize there was so much else going on, but it does provide a different perspective, that whole event. I wasn't like irate, but I'll get to that in a moment. Um, Personal wise, this weekend or next week, I'll be flying out Thursday. I'll be going to Capcom Cup, and thank you, Jazz, so much for pointing me in the direction of Walter. I will definitely be talking to him and pitching what I want to pitch, so I can move forward from there. And that way, I don't have to worry about the next 6 months running around
Nice.
sweating. So hopefully that works out well.
Yeah, I hope it does.
I'll also be talking to Mark. I know he's in here. I'll see you, Mark, and I'll pitch what I want to pitch to you as well regarding my plans. If you haven't looked at your DMs yet, but what you mentioned about the leadership and the culture. Today I was with so I'm a licensed mental health professional. I'm a BCBA, and
Right.
I was asked to have lunch with this doctor. She was from West Africa, and she said, "I want to talk to you, Aaron." And I said, "Here's a diner near where you are." I drove down, and we had lunch. She paid for it. She says, "I want you to come work part time with us because you came recommended from a lot of your former employees." And I said, "I'm a very big culture guy, so I'm flattered that culture carried over with my former employees. I didn't work with these individuals like as their employer in almost years, and they thought highly of me. I mean, as you can attest to, many former employees typically don't look at their bosses that way. So to
Right.
have someone years later say, "This guy's fantastic, go ask him to help build our culture," that's empowering, especially given what I'm about to talk about. So, in respect to everyone here, I'm not going to mention names. I did a few months ago, a few weeks ago at this point, I did let Josh know some of the details of what was going on. But I'm going to focus on how it pertains to this story. This was 2018 at Evo. I had been asked to run TMNT Tournament Fighters at the Anime Evo side because I've been a TO at that point for almost 6 years, running Cross Tekken on my own, and basically being a fully self-sufficient individual at that point. Sometimes I would have someone like Panda X Gaming help me for like spotlight reasons, but in terms of running the bracket, bringing the consoles, that was all me. And I figured, okay, I got one day, and they gave me a time of when I'd be in and out. So okay, that's good. I can go see Godsmack, and I bought tickets to see Godsmack after the event. The event ran several hours late. The person in charge was, I was told, hungover. And on top of that, I was the only guy who brought the converter they needed to run stuff on the big stage. So my event, which would have been done hours before, got held up like 3 or 4 hours. I had to miss Godsmack. I was livid. 'Cause I look at my watch like the whole time. Okay, I'm running. Like maybe we can finish it. Maybe just one more thing. I cannot stand the sight of Hochiko no Ken because of this event and how late it was. That foot stab bullshit ruined my fucking evening. And I I don't remember anything I said in particular, but I probably said, "Why am I the only guy who has this converter if it's so important?" So I think they ran Sailor Moon afterwards too. And I'm like, "Look, my top eight's been ready for like 3 or 4 hours. You can look at my highlight and see the long gap and how much dead space there is between matches and the actual top eight." And I was not happy. And then the next day, I was setting up Cross Tekken separate from these guys, but again, this is Evo 2018, so if anyone who's been there can envision the side area of like those huge cafeteria tables. And I was at the end of one of those cafeteria tables the next day. I see a monitor under the table, and at the time I assume it's venues. And it was an Asus. Okay, I said, "Oh shit, Asus, this is cool." So I hook up the Asus that was under the table, and some guy tells me that that's his. Says, "Okay, let me show you proof because people say this all the time. I don't know you from anybody." And he provided proof. I said, "Okay, let me unhook it." The guy said, as I'm unhooking it, "Didn't your mom ever tell you stealing is wrong?" And I looked at the guy like, "Did you?" The word I said was, "My mom was a klepto. How dare you?" Because at that point, it's like, what do you expect me to say? You insulted my mother over this, and I'm helping you? And there are eyewitnesses of this. The guy who won Evo for Cross Second Year was there watching this and looking at me like he was just like grinning ear to ear watching this thing unfold. Um, so fast forward to last May. Um, the people who run Anime Evo for last Evo was in charge of all the side tournaments, not just the poverty shit.
Right.
So I had to apply there. I'm told I am banned from running side tournaments. And I'm like, what? So I text the person in charge, and this is the person who was hungover and late. Now, when I heard this, I assumed it was because of the falling out I had with the Battle for the Grid community 2 years ago. And I'm like, okay, this is not. So I spoke, look, if this is it, I can find other commentators, I can find whatever else, I can disappear in the background, but I'm a community leader. I have to run this game because I'm the one who makes sure it blows up. Because anyone who looks at CrossTech in the last 2 or 3 years can see how many views it gets compared to most other games with its situation. So I'm told the reason I'm banned is because they said the last time you're with us, you made people uncomfortable because it's clear you can't handle change. And my brain exploded because not only were they in the wrong in the first place, but they had 4 years to dwell on it, and that's what they came away with. So I found someone else to run Cross Second. Then, a month or so later, people start coming to me, not knowing that I had this discussion with them prior, asking me, "Hey, why is everyone so upset at Vortex Gallery? Do you know who's in charge of Vortex Gallery?" And I'm asking, "What's going on here?" They said people are upset about how they're being treated. Every time they ask questions, they get confrontational aggressive regarding like table space and timing and stuff. I heard people say they were threatened to be banned from ever commenting again if they're off brand or whatever. And again, these are people who normally would be running their own community being told this by their people.
Yeah.
There was one incident where they were banning people for saying things on Twitter that don't even like target anybody in particular. And I wrote all this down. I did give it to Josh to kind of look after once Evo was done, saying, "Hey, I just had all this stuff fall in my lap." I bring this up in context with you and what you guys are dealing with. Not to point fingers, not to, again, if I want to point fingers, I'd name who I'm talking about. But as a leader, just like you said, you take criticism to heart because you want you and the people who work under you to be efficient and to come away feeling good about what they've accomplished.
Yeah.
Everything you discussed with Final Round. I thought a lot about. So once I heard that they were conversations with people who were wearing like the X Wires shirt, who I sent to Evo to run cross Tekken, I put on Facebook a long post saying, "Okay, I bit my tongue long enough. Here's my complaints from 4 years ago, leading into this Evo, and why I wasn't there running stuff as I normally would." And I list and I post like screenshots, like lengthy screenshots, so there's no confusion about who says what. So this is
No,
start to finish what was said, so there's no confusion. There's no I'm picking to make yourself look good. This is the raw and uncut, and you can judge from here. I received
yeah.
I received death threats. I did receive nasty letters.
Holy
I
shit.
received threatening language, which I did share with Josh again. There was one letter I got that I called the 99 Theses because it reminded me of reading history in school, the Martin Luther nailing his protest on the cathedral, cursing my name. I embraced the hate because my community universally farted at them over the way they were treated, even when I wasn't there. And it was made even more evident when ECT happened, and I was given my normal cross Tekken, put this video where it's supposed to go type freedom. Cross Tekken for Evo last year got 786 views. Cross Tekken at ECT, despite having way less people in it, 85,000 views. And the only reason one blew up over the other is because I was involved, as I normally would, in making sure it's visible.
Right. I understand, man. Like, hold on. If you can wrap it up because
Yeah, I'm going to
we're
wrap it
past
up
our
now.
3 hour
The
mark.
leadership aspect,
Yeah.
the culture aspect. As a community leader, especially in the last 2 years, I hold myself to an incredibly high standard to make sure the people under me have their lives easier if I need a task from them. I've been very open in giving commentators jobs opportunities, and I've also been especially open in ensuring that when they have those opportunities, if they say something that might not be what it should be, I can tell them privately, "Hey, tone it down. I have to edit this out later, but just for future reference, kind of veer towards this topic or keep it PBS Kids or things like that." Because, as you say, the culture is very important, and I don't want to be a situation where I could be looked at in the same way that I looked at the situation that I was on the wrong side of, because I want to I want to give back, and I want to do better for those who work under me and those who are counting on me to run a clean bracket and help them shine. So thank you for all you do, Jazz. And again, you guys, you, Jazz, Jordan, Josh, everyone listening, always be objective. And if you have criticism come your way, think about it once your nerves die down and use that to ensure that the next time you're in a situation where the same events occur, you're prepared, and then nothing can stop you from letting it shine. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man. For real. the aspect of running a tournament is difficult, and like I said, you know what I mean. Me and someone that I considered a friend hadn't talked in years because of it. Not good anyway. And like now, you know what I mean, at least we're cordial. We can talk about some of this stuff. But there was a lot of pain tied up into that tournament for me for years. We had a lot of experience and just that stuff that we had to go through and we grew out of it. You know what I mean? And like I said too, like not only Beefu said it here. Beefu, by the way, Jordan said what's up. Um, I know he's gonna get back on and speak for himself, but um, people that were there and that were not only a part of the culture as a guest and as someone that paid entrance, people that were wise enough, they saw what was happening, and you know what I mean, and they did provide some solace to me and the staff, and it was important. And just being kind to your TO, like go up to your TO and fucking ask them their name, even their real name or their fucking gaming name. Just like shake their hand and say thank you before the event is done. Just get to know who they are because you mean anyone that is willing to do this and serve, should they be paid? Yes, I'm always pushing for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is not a paid service, but we do not even closely remotely pay the people that are executively running an event the right amount of money because it's criminal the amount of work that we have to do and adjust it on the fly to make sure an event runs properly. Because what Jordan does back on the computer, I have to translate and not only communicate but run an event from. You understand what I'm saying? Like it is one of those things, and then manage the people that are going to be doing what Jordan just had to fucking fix. And some tournaments had been printed and written out that we had to rerun and go find the person that had it and take the old one and give them the new one. We didn't want to do that to anyone. That would never been any way that I want to run an event at all, ever. But right now, Smash GG is the best shit on the planet. And y'all use it at all your events. Even this boy right here, Justin, was there. He just jumped in now. He saw. As a matter of fact, Justin, I don't know if you can speak. I think you're the one that closed out Street Fighter for me. I was so done. I lost my voice from Friday. I got there Thursday, and by Friday, my voice was gone. You understand what I'm saying? So we're talking to you guys about stuff before, after, during. There's a lot of things that occurred, and you know what I mean. At the end of the day, like someone jokingly said to me, like a bunch of shit was going on in the FTC over the last couple of months. You guys know. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, you know what's going on? People are antsy because this time of year, everybody would be getting ready to go to final round.
Hmm.
And I was like, damn.
Like FOMO.
What's up?
I said that FOMO
You understand what I'm
feeling of
saying?
missing out.
All this shit is going on right now because right now, every year for the last how many years, everybody was getting ready to go to final round. I was like, fuck, that is wild. So, with that being said, you know what I mean, we're at the 3 hour mark, so we're gonna go ahead and shut it down for the night. John, Josh, Josh is gone. I don't know where the hell he went. And I guess
Yeah,
John and
he had
Jordan
prior
engagement.
engagements.
Okay, cool. So Jordan, go ahead and close it out, and then John, I'll have you close it out, and then we'll get out of here.
You're going to give the new guy who just is a guest speaker to close it out. Okay. No
no, no,
pressure
no,
whatsoever.
no. Your
Okay.
No,
closing
we're
thoughts. Your
going down the
closing
line.
thoughts. Your
Just give
closing.
your closing
We're
thoughts.
done.
Oh, closing
Anything you want
statements.
to
Okay.
say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. My bad. Just thanks again for allowing me this avenue to speak to everybody and to talk about good times, bad times, and just great friends and meeting and seeing everybody. It's good to talk to everyone. Hopefully, I'll get to see you guys all at some point soon. Um, other than that, thanks again.
Go ahead, John, and I'll close it.
Uh, well, I mean, not really anything to promote right now. Just everybody be excellent to each other. Um, don't be dumb. Uh, wear a mask because COVID is still out there. It's still sucks. There's also weird stomach viruses and other things that also suck. Um, uh, get Epic Games or Bandai Namco to hire me for their social media and community manager because I could use that as a job. That would be pretty cool. Um, Other than that, everybody have a good evening.
For real, appreciate you. Those of you that are here listening, appreciate you listening to the whole time. Final round meant a lot to me, meant a lot to a lot of us, and like some of these dudes, I've only seen them through FaceTime because I haven't had final round in my life, and shit's changing now. We're moving around a little bit more because it's post COVID and the Six Button Corporation has been created, and that's one of the reasons why it was created is because of shit like Final Round in our experience. We don't want you to go through what we go through. That's why we're here to help and educate and tell you what to do and avoid our mistakes. You're walking through this path and no one has properly shared the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that we've had, and that has to change. So
That's crazy. Not to cut you off, that's crazy. Jordan, that was the last time that me and you were face to face, right? Was the final round?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a hot minute for sure. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Uh,
So there's a lot more stuff. I've opened 3 companies in the FTC now, and 2 of them are running. One of them closed. One of my business partners are in here. We were doing shit. We were making moves, talking to schools and fucking devs and all the crazy shit that people don't understand that goes on behind the scene. So like, let's be real. This is a lot of shit that you have to do, and you have a lot to learn. And when you learn it, it becomes a transferable skill that you can apply in a job outside of the culture and be a manager and make good money and do all this crazy shit with. I promise you. So like, let's be real to one another for real and make sure this shit goes well moving forward. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you for listening to TO Talks. Tweet, retweet. Our DMs are open. We're gonna have our email up soon, and our Discord for Six Buttons. So, it's gonna be invite only because we want to make sure that it's exclusive, and the people that are there really want to be helped and really want to be a part of what we're doing. And we're gonna be doing shit. We're gonna be working with TOs. We're gonna be going to their events. We're gonna be promoting. We're gonna be helping as much we can, not only with our knowledge and our services, but also with resources as well, whether it be information, people, or even funds. If you need like a pop bonus or some shit like that, just holla at us. So that's basically what we're about. And I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you very much for listening to TO Talks. Have a good night.